You don't exist. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowed like sis. Dead up perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the fourth part of What If Naruto Enters Bakugan. Special note, this fanfic is written in a masterpiece of Shadow Knight Destroyer on fanfiction.net. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Waiting room. Are you serious? Naruto says. Yeah, in a Gundalian. My name is Paige. And this guy is Rafe. Paige said, looking at Rafe. Yes, I am Rafe and a member of one of the castle knights, Rafe said. But what are you guys doing on Earth? Naruto says, confused. Ask them to come, Fabia says, entering the room with the others. So how did Anubius and Selen gain control of their mech token? Naruto says to them. We think they're using other control methods, Rafe said. What other kind of other methods? Naruto says, confused. We're not entirely sure, Rafe says, making Naruto's eyes narrow at this. The truth is we never seen a mech token in person before, Paige says, making Naruto scratch his head. Until now, we've only studied about them in ancient texts and how they were defeated by the 3 Dragon Kings, Rafe says, confusing Naruto. Dragon Kings, Naruto said, and Paige nods. They were said to have fought Dragonoid, Darachnoid, and God Nagonoid on equal grounds. Their location is unknown, but they chose worthy battlers to use them, Paige says, shocking them. When word reached Nethia about the appearance of Mechtogen, Princess Fabia asked us to come help you guys clean things up, Rafe said, and Fabia nods at it. Are you guys serious? Naruto says, surprised. We don't need a pair of babysitters so you can get lost, Shun says, heading for the door. As always, the stupidest of the group heads off to battle in the front lines with no plans, just like Shadow, Hydra says, making Shadow's eye twitch. What's that supposed to mean? Shadow yells angrily and Link laughs. He's calling you stupid, Link says, laughing, and Hydra just smirks, while Alice is trying to stop this before it turns into a fight. It was also stopped by Naruto threatening to kick their butt, and unknown to them Paige is blushing looking at Naruto, except Rafe, who smirks seeing this, knowing he'll tease her in the future. I'm quite disappointed, Shun, Mihawk says, leaning against the wall, angering Shun, who's at the door. Shun turns fast, throwing a kick, but Mihawk easily blocks it. Shun is about to throw and punch when a knee ims itself into Shun's stomach, making him fall to his knees. Mihawk shakes his head. So about that. The Bakugan on Mihawk's shoulder says. Don't say sorry, Zoro. He needs to understand this world works, Mihawk says, turning around and starts walking away. Naruto notices there's another Bakugan on his shoulder, but it's in ball form. Time skip 2 days later. Bakugan field open, the announcer says, and currently Mihawk is by himself walking through the swamp, while in the city area there's Hydra, Shadow, and Link walking together. This is the moment you've been all waiting for, battle fans. The question is which team will make it through the base first, defeating all of the opponents in order to grab the flag, acclaim victory. Wait, what the? There seems to be a one-man team, people, the announcer says, and the screens show Mihawk facing Anubius's team. Would you mind telling me why you're in my way? Mihawk says, bored. Anubius told us we should take you down first, Robin says, making Mihawk's eyebrow raise at this. Yeah, now we're gonna mop the floor with you, so no crying, Jack says, smiling widely. So no running, I want to take you down. Then the battle brawlers, then Akatsuki, then says, and all 3 throw their Bakugan. Bakugan brawl, Bakugan stand, they yell. Mihawk is staring up unimpressed. Sign guess I have no choice, Mihawk says, taking Zoro out. Bakugan brawl, Bakugan stand, Zoro, Mihawk yells, throwing Zoro, an Aventus samurai-looking Bakugan with 3 swords sheathed and no helmet, showing a ninja mask with his mouth, showing that he has sharp teeth. He also has a scar on its left eye. These 3 seriously? Zoro says, and Mihawk nods. Ability activate, Tribal Crusher, Ben yells, and Heridian fires 3 beams from his mouth, but Zoro simply moves out of the way, dodging it easily. Bakugan Aeroblaze. Ben yells and Heridian is currently flying because of the Bakugan. Heridian begins firing fast lasers. Ability activate, flash step, Mohawk says, and Zoro begins dodging the lasers, leaving after images of himself. Ability activate, Mihawk says, and Zoro takes his 3 swords out and puts one of them in his mouth. Zoro then spins. Dragon Twister, Mihawk and Zoro yell, and everyone sees Zoro create a giant tornado SCK the 3 Bakugan in it. Huge, Ben says, shocked, and sees there are slash waves in the tornado hurting the 3 Bakugan badly, and when it finished all 3 hit the ground hurt. Ability activate, Mihawk yells, and Zoro makes a stance with his right sword facing left and left sword facing right. 108. Phoenix Flame Wing Slash. Zoro yells, she sends a blast of red wind that turns into a phoenix, hitting the 3, turning that back into ball form. My wind is so god it burns, Zoro says, turning to ball form, heading back to Mihawk, who catches it and begins walking away, shocking the 3 of the power he displayed. Time skip city area. Gentlemen, day hello to my Mechtogen Braction, Selen yells, facing both Page and Rafe's Bakugan. Braction comes out of the clouds and lands on the ground, making everything shake. 2 claws come out if Braction and come down, making NTH ready to block, but suddenly 2 swords blocked it, shocked them. Zoro was standing in front of Braction and starts to force it back. I suggest your Mechtogen retreat. I just want to get this over with, Mihawk says, and Selen glares at him. Don't think you can beat my Mechtogen easily. Now, Selen stops by seeing Zoro put his 2 swords away and takes out 1 sword. Let's end this quickly, Zoro says, and Mihawk nods. Ability activate, Mihawk says, and Zoro begins running at Braction, and for some reason it can't move, like it's frozen by fear. Zoro's eyes glow red and speeds up towards Braction. 1 sword, both yell, and Zoro lifts his sword, she slashes down, appearing behind the Mechtogen. Great Dragon Shock, Zoro says, and the building behind Braction and in front of Zoro collapses. Braction then falls on both its sides from being cut in half, shocking everyone. I win, Zoro says, and looks to Spyron heading straight for him, and Zoro takes out a 2nd sword. Ability activate, Mihawk yells, and Zoro holds both swords upside down and rubs straight for Spyron. Demon X slash, Zoro yells and slashes, sending a huge X-wave at Spyron, consuming her, making an explosion. Spyron returns to ball form, heading back to a shocked Selen. Zoro walks up the steps and grabs the flag, lifting it in the air. Guess we win, Mihawk says, and begins walking away with Zoro turning back to a Bakugan form, heading back to Zoro, who catches it. Time skip. Shun walks to where Mihawk won and no one's there slash. Brother, Shun says and signs. Yes, Mihawk says behind Shun, making his eyes widen, and he jumps back. Why? Shun says, looking down, and Mihawk signs. Why, I left all those years ago. I abandoned you and Mom. I still regret that day, Mihawk says, and turns around, then begins walking away. Take this, Mihawk says, and throws Shun what looks like a Bakugan made of stone, surprising Shun, which he catches it. The day will come when you awaken that Bakugan. We will battle when they happened, Mihawk says, and Shun sees it. An image of a dragon behind Mihawk. It's number 107, Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon from Yujo's Exile. Where Naruto is. So how was it? Naruto says, smiling at the 3 members of Akatsuki who glare at Naruto. We lost. Shun's brother won, you idiot. They yell at Naruto at the same time, which he sweat drops at this. Oh. Sorry, Naruto says, sweat dropping at their very angry behaviors. Naruto is currently talking with Alice. So, you 2 have been training strong, right? Naruto says, smiling to Alice, and she smiles back. We have become stronger, same level of when Masquerade was in control, or maybe better, Hydronoid said. Good, everyone must become stronger if we can stop whatever's happening, Naga said, to which Naruto nods. Both hear running footsteps and turn to see Fabia running to them, and stops in front of the 2 tiredly. What is it, Fabia? Naruto said, confused. Mihawk? He's currently battling Anubius and Selen at the same time. What's worst is he's facing 4 Mechtogen, Fabia says, making Naruto's eyes widen all the way. This puts me at a disadvantage, Mihawk says, and in front of him are 4 Mechtogen. Zoro has his swords out. This is tiresome. Dealing with 4 Mechtogen, Zoro said, and he nods. Guess it's time, Mihawk says, taking out a stone Bakugan. It's time to awaken, Mihawk whispers to the Bakugan, and cracks start to form. Now I'll show you, Mihawk says and smirks, seeing Shun running towards him holding Talion. So the time is now, huh? Mihawk says and grabs the stone Bakugan he keeps hidden away. Now awaken, Mihawk yells, throwing the stone Bakugan. Rise from your sleep, dragon of darkness. Rise again from your dragon tamer's call, Mihawk yells, and the ball breaks, showing a black Bakugan in it. They all see a vortex of darkness appear which starts pulling them in. What is this power? Anubius says, and his eyes widen in fear, seeing red eyes from the vortex. This power, it's not like anything I felt before, Selen says, shocked. They all hear a roar. This power, why does it feel familiar? Naga says, and from the darkness a beast flies out from it heading towards the sky. Rise, galaxy eyes Takian dragon, Mihawk yells, and the dragon stops in the sky, extending its wings and roars, shocking everyone. This is one of the 3 Dragon King, the dragon of darkness, galaxy eyes Takian dragon, Mihawk yells, and Takian flies down next to him. Dragon King? Anubius says, confused. Allow me to show you Takian's power. Ability activate, Takian Titan Cannon, Mihawk says, and a red orb forms in Takian's mouth and fires, which it rips right through one of the Mechtogen's chest, making it explode, shocking Anubius and Selen. Attack, now! Selen yells to the Mechtogen that start charging, but faster than the Mechtogen could react. They crash into buildings strong, which starts to collapse. Ability activate, Dark Flash, Mihawk says, extending his hand, and Takian appears in the middle of the battlefield. Ability activate, Darkness Wave, Mihawk yells, which the dragon roars and sends a wave of darkness out of it. The darkness wraps around the Mechtogens, and they're unable to do anything. Ability activate, Excel Dark Cannon, Mihawk yells, which the dragon creates multiple beams, unleashing them, cutting the Mechtogen to pieces, making explosions. Rah! Takian roars, making everyone skid back at the power. Both Anubius and Selen look angrily at Mihawk. Sorry, it was 4 against 1, I wanted to even the playing field, Mihawk says, catching Tassian and Zoro, who return in ball form, and turns, walking away. Soon enough there won't be anything else left for you to protect, Anubius says, smirking, and Mihawk turns to him. Are you talking about yours and Selen's leader? I already know about him already, Mihawk says, and making both of their eyes. They hear beeping. Attention everyone, this is an emergency, the announcer yells, showing a video of Chaos Bakugan going berserk, attacking everything. The Chaos Bakugan have gone on a rampage inside Bakugan Interspace, the annoyed says, and they see it. 1,000 spears flying through the sky, hitting the Chaos Bakugan. Then a scythe comes slashing more, and the beams fired by the Chaos Bakugan were reflected back at them. Then 3 dark purple energy spheres fire from somewhere and hits the Bakugan, while others are hit by light blasts. A vortex of flames appear, enveloping Chaos Bakugan. Everyone is blinded by a bright light from the video, and when it stops, they see a lot of the Chaos Bakugan were defeated. The counterattack has already begun, Naga says, standing next to Krakix, Centurior, Druman, Reaper, Hydranoid, and Aeronaut. The brawler's eyes widen, seeing Hydranoid with 5 heads, 4 wings, 5 tails, and the middle head has a gold horn coming from its head, while Aeronaut looking like Utopia from Yu-Gi-Oh! They evolved, Marucci says, shocked. On a building are Naruto, Hydran, Link, Shadow, Alice, Fabius standing next to each other. Naruto begins yelling, and both Naga and Krakix yell as well, sending beams into the sky, making a big dark cloud. From it, the Mechtogen saber and blade come down, standing side by side. Let those who worship evil be eliminated, saber and blade say together, and they open up, unleashing multiple beams, wiping out more Chaos Bakugan. Everyone, you must evacuate immediately, Naruto yells at the video screen and turns. Ability activate, Light Speed, Naruto yells out, and Naga disappears and reappears with a bunch of Bakugan hitting the ground. Ability activate, Demon Tornado, Link yells, and Reaper stands straight and begins spinning the scythe, but no wind. Feel the pain of wind from hell, Reaper says, spinning at high speed, and stops. Reaper taps his scythe on the ground, and suddenly a tornado appears with the top looking like a demon's head, and it grows, swallowing the Chaos Bakugan. Ability activate, Mirror of Souls. Hydra yells and Druman creates a black mirror which shows a reflection in it of the Chaos Bakugan. The reflections start moving and a hand comes out of the reflection, then more and more come out and begin attacking the Chaos Bakugan evenly matched. Ability activate, Spear of Time. Shadow yells smiling insanely and Centaurier throws the spear which hits the ground where a bunch of Bakugan are standing. They stop frozen and a circle appears around the Chaos Bakugan, and they all look gray. Let's show Naruto we've gotten stronger Chaos Hydranoid. Ability activate, 5-headed cannon. Alice yells and Chaos Hydranoid unleashes 5 beams which start bending like Darkseid's Omega beams from DC Universe. The beams move around a building hitting Chaos Bakugans. Let's protect all the kids. Hope Aeronaut. Ability activate, Savior slash. Fabia yells and Aeronaut takes out his sword and slashed, sending a yellow wave at the Chaos Bakugan hitting them. Ability activate, Asura. 9 sword style. Naruto yells and Krakix runs at the Chaos Bakugan while spinning and slashes through them, all making multiple explosions while the Chaos Bakugan hit the ground defeated. Is that all you got? Mihawk told me what Takian told him. Magmal huh? Naruto says seriously. Back to the others. Such power, Rafe says shocked at the power. Wow, Paige says with a blush looking at Naruto. Mihawk notices this and chuckles. He then turns to Shun, throwing him a stone Bakugan which he catches in confusion. You will understand, little brother, the time will come when you awaken it, but you aren't ready yet, Mihawk says and begins walking to the battle, surprising Shun, who looks at the stone Bakugan surprised. Hey Paige, you okay? You've been staring at Naruto for a little while, Rafe says to her, which she blushes more and glares at Rafe angrily. I'm not blushing, you idiot, Paige yells at him while he just smirks. Right, ever since you saw him in battle when he first attacked Gundalia during the war, you always seem to blush when seeing him, Rafe says, and Paige glares at him more. Stop picking at her, it's only natural that Naruto can win the hearts of girls like Paige, for example, Bolderin says with a laugh, making Paige blush in embarrassment. Naruto is currently behind a building and looks to see the other Chaos Bakugan searching for them. This is a problem, we're being overrun. Where's Zoro? Never mind, Krakix says, hiding behind a building, seeing a tornado attacking the Chaos Bakugan and Zoro slashing through the Bakugan. Mihawk is currently attacking the Chaos Bakugan but slashing their back, slamming it in the ground. Naga, Naruto said, looking to Naga, who's against a building, tired after unleashing powerful attacks against the Chaos Bakugan, wiping most of them out. Such power, Krakix says, shocked, and makes a fist angrily. You okay? Naruto says, turning to Paige, who's leaning against the building close to Naruto. They're everywhere, Paige says, and Naruto nods. I wonder where Hydranoid and Aeronaut are, Naruto says, confused. He suddenly revived a cowl on his communicator. What is it? Naruto says in his communicator, and his eyes widen hearing what Shun said, and his look becomes that if anger. Dan, you endangered everyone again, Naruto says, PSS off at Dan's foolishness. Dan, you mean the ex-leader of the Brawlers, Paige says, and he nods angrily. Where the others are. You deleted Areas B? We lost a part of inner space, but at least we still have the wine thing, Naruto said, looking at the entire interspace. I didn't have any choice, there were too many to fight. We would have been overrun sooner or later, Marucho says, and Naruto nods at that. Dan is looking angry at what happened, drawing Spectra's attention. You okay? Spectra said, and Dan rubs the back of his head sheepishly. Ahaha, talk about a bad reunion, huh? Dan says, and Spectra signs. You've changed, my friend. You're not the same guy who brought me out of my darkness, as well as the one who helped Naga be released from his, and the battle brawlers seem to be fractured. How very sad, Spectra says, and Naruto nods to him while Spectra walks away. Hey wait, Dan yells to Spectra, but he leaves. Dan suddenly grabs his head in pain, drawing everyone's attention. What's happening? Naruto says with narrowed hands, seeing the look of pain on his face. After explanation. You left and went to New Vestroya, Naruto says, surprised at this. Yeah, it seemed like a good idea to go back there while we tried to get control over Drago's powers and Zenthon. The plan actually worked, Dan said to them, sitting on a chair while the others stood. Naruto looks at his teammates, who didn't seem sure if he was telling the truth. You could have fooled me with that last display. Paige says, speaking what's in her mind. You clearly had no control of Mechtogen Zenthan. Why don't you just admit it, Dan? Rafe said, adding his 2 cents. Who are these punks? Dan says, and Naruto glares at Dan at his rudeness. They're Rafe and Paige, they are our friends. They came after you abandoned your team, Naruto says at Dan, who looks away. I can't believe this guy is your mighty leader, Paige says, not believing he was their leader, and Rafe smiles at that. Don't you mean ex-leader, Paige? Rafe said, smirking, and both look at Naruto, who nods. What did he say? Come on, speak up, pal, Dan says, making Naruto sign. Naruto took over as leader while you were gone. After all that's been happening and his power far exceeds yours, he was the best choice, Alice says, surprising Dan. Yes, he has far surpassed you. He can summon his own Mechtogen along with Krakix and control them both at the same time. He's on a level far above yours, Hydranoid said, surprising Drago. You left us no choice, Dan. We had to make a choice, and it was the best for the entire team, Shun said. Well, fine then, thanks for stepping up, Dan says, standing up, making Naruto's eyes narrow again. I really appreciate it, but you don't need to worry about that anymore. Drago and I are back and better than ever, so just sit back and let me take the reins, okay? Cool? Ahahaha, Dan says and starts laughing, and Naruto's hair shadows his eyes. Shun looks away, annoyed at Dan's behavior, while all 3 girls glare at Dan. Listen you, Shun says loudly at Dan. Are you really that arrogant? I just can't believe what I'm hearing, Rafe says, not believing this. You've got some nerve, pal, the way you're disrespecting your teammates and Naruto, who was the one who helped hold this team together, Paige says, having enough. What do you mean? Dan said, confused. I mean, you pulled a runner and left them in the dust, and now you think you can stroll back in and pick up where you left off. Not cool, dude, Paige says. Dan, Naruto says, drawing everyone's attention, and delivers a devastating punch to the stomach, making him spit out BLD, and he falls to his knees, shocking everyone at this, while Naruto walks towards the door. The truth is, when I first began trying to understand Bakugan, Alice helped me understand most of it, but it was still confusing. But when I saw you battling, it sparked my interest. You're the reason why I started wanting to battle. I wanted to face you so much. But now, Naruto says, making a fist angrily. Where was the one that helped save Naga? The one that I enjoyed battling against and beside? Who are you and what have you done with Dan Kuso, leader of the battle brawlers? Naruto said, leaving the room, shocking everyone. Cool, Paige says with a light blush, and both Alice and Fabia look at her in surprise and look at each other. Dan, you're an idiot. Don't think you can do everything. Drago is just a simple Bakugan like all of us. He isn't a god, so shut your mouth. Naga yells the last part angrily and leaves the room. You're as blind as a bat. No, you can't even compare to a bat, Krakix says, and also leaves the room, both going after Naruto. Time skip. Shun is currently walking through the park by himself at night and stops looking at a swing set. Now tell me, Mihawk says behind Shun, leaning against a tree, making his eyes widen, and turns to Mihawk in shock. Where is the hospital Mom is currently in? When I went to check on her, she wasn't there, Mihawk says to Shun, and he freezes. Mom died 5 years ago, Shun said, and Mihawk's eyes widen all the way in complete shock. You weren't there, Shun said with his hair shadowing his eyes, passing Mihawk. She wanted to see you before she died, but you weren't there, Shun said, walking away with his hands in his pockets. 5 years, huh? I really screwed up, Mihawk said, and walks the opposite direction that Shun walked. Graveyard. Mihawk is standing in front of a grave. Shori Kazami Rep. Loving mother and friend. Tears go down Mihawk's eyes, and he lays a bouquet of roses next to the grave. Happy birthday, Mom, Mihawk says, standing up. Mihawk, Zoro said, but Mihawk passes the floating Bakugan. I need time to think, Mihawk said, and continues walking away. Shun is standing against a tree, remembering the day his mom died. Flashback. Mom, Shun yells, entering the room, followed by Naruto. It was a month later after Shun revived Skyrus. Shun runs to her side, which she smiles weakly at him. Shori moves her half to Shun's, touching it. So Mihawk isn't here. Shun, don't hate your brother. Shiori said, and she sees Naruto, which she smiles weakly at him. Hello, Naruto, Shiori said to Naruto, which he looks down sadly. Shiori turns back to Naruto. Even now, he thinks the world of you. I will love both of you always. Shiori said, which her eyes close and the heart monitor makes a long beep sound, making Naruto's eyes widen as well as Shun. Mom, Shun said, and has tears in his eyes while sitting on the bed. Mom, Muam, Shun yells, crying, hugging his dead mother while Naruto looks away. Flashback end. Shun has tears coming down his eyes while, unknown to him, the stone Bakugan is watching the memories. Time skip at Baku Interspace. What? Did you say Gundalia? Paige says, confused, sitting down with Naruto, Akatsuki, Shun, Marucho, Rafe, and Mihawk. They're currently listening to Dan. You came all this way to tell us about a dream? Rafe says to Dan. It's not a dream, it's a vision, and it's real, okay? Magmal is heading for Gundalia, and he's gonna attack, Dan said, making Paige angry. You're crazy, man. Why should we believe some nutty dream you had? Paige says, not believing Dan one bit, making him angry. You better not be calling me a liar, Dan says, getting annoyed. I'm not calling you a liar, Paige said, standing up. I'm calling you a crazy person. Got it, Paige yells, putting Dan off, while Hydra, Link, and Shadow watch in amusement, making a bet to see Paige kick Dan's butt in 10 seconds. They suddenly hear beeping, drawing their attention. Paige looks at her watch and presses a button, which a hologram appears showing a battle on Gundalia. It's a distress call, Paige said, watching in horror at the destruction. The Chaos Bakugan are invading my home, Paige says, shocked, while everyone's eyes widen at this. So they didn't just vanish, Shun said, looking down. They found another target, Gundalia. Mihawk says, rubbing his chin, thinking of something. They invaded Gundalia, but why? Naruto said, confused. We must hurry, Krakik says, which Naga and Zoro nod. I've got to go, let's roll. Paige is stopped by Naruto, bopping her in the head strong. Oh, what was that for? Paige yells at Naruto. First off, no running off to battle by yourself. That's what Dan dies, and now look at him, Naruto said, pointing at Dan, offending him. We're all going, it's been a while since I was there. The only time I was there was me destroying stuff. And Naruto said, which his teammates nod, standing up. We're leaving now, Naruto said seriously, and they all head towards an open area, but they hear Dan making them turn. Hold up, guys. We're going too, Dan said, looking down. No thank you, Paige said. After the damage you caused in interspace, sorry, Rafe said. I'm not asking, I'm telling you, Dan yells, making them blink in surprise. I'm the original battle brawler. You're not cutting me out of this fight, Dan yells out loud. At Gundalia. They finally arrive in Gundalia, coming out of the portal. Nothing has changed, except the buildings you destroyed, Naga, Naruto said, which Naga nods, remembering him blasting through them. Suddenly they hear footsteps and turn to see 2 Gundalian guards pointing spears at them. State your business, one of them says. Are you the ones who brought the Chaos Bakugan? The other says. Suddenly their spears were cut in half. Mihawk points his sword at the 2, making them start sweating. You shouldn't treat guests badly, Mihawk says, annoyed. We're from Earth. We're the battle brawlers, and we came. Marucho is cut off by Paige. And I'm from Gundalia, so what's with you guys? Paige says angrily. Or me a castle knight? Rafe says. Or me. Hi, I'm Naruto, by the way, Naruto said suddenly while smiling, making Paige, Rafe, and everyone sweat drop at him, saying that all of a sudden. The guards begin sweating, remembering a guy named Naruto who destroyed a lot of buildings. I would have said stand down, but this isn't the situation to say that. These are our friends, someone says, making them turn to see Ren, who turns back in human form. Sup, Naruto says to Ren, shaking hands with him. It's great to see you guys again, Ren says to them, glad they're here. Time skip at base. They're currently walking past machine. Your timing is bang on perfect. We're about to embark on a full-out assault on the invading Chaos Bakugan forces, Ren said. And you're the big chief in charge of Gundalian forces, huh? Time flies by in just 1 year, Naruto said to Ren, who nods, agreeing at it. Lucky for us, the Votex spit us out right out on the Gundalian front line, Otherwise we would have missed SCRT her, Marucho said. Your timing was perfect, Ren said, and they enter the base which shows Nerzak on a screen. It's good to see you all again, brawlers and Akatsuki. I only wished it could have been on better circumstances, Nerzak says to them, then turns to Paige. Tell me, has Paige done well as your student? Nerzak said. Yes, Prime Minister, IHV done my very best to follow my instructions of my teachers, Paige says. By that she means watching Naruto all the time, Boldrin said, making Paige blush. That's not it, Paige says, which Nerzak laughs. Ahaha, it's nice to see young love, Nerzak says, making Paige look down in embarrassment. Hello, battle brawlers, Serena says, appearing on screen. We came as soon as we heard your highness, Rafe says, bowing down. Let us know how we can best serve you, and we will do it, Queen Serena, Rafe's Bakugan said. So explain why all this happened, Naruto said to the two. Well, it all happened very quickly. A mysterious figure calling himself Magmal arrived along with his brutish Bakugan Rasengan. Before we knew what was happening, he dispatched his legion of Chaos Bakugan. Our people were attacked and our cities burned to the ground. Darkness and destruction have returned to Gundalia. We do not know why they chose to attack us. What is clear, however, is that we must fight back with all our light. Do you understand? Nerzak said to them, but Naruto cut him off. Serena, how long will the castle knights be until they arrive? Naruto said with his hands going behind his back. We are making preparations to send castle knights as reinforcements to aid you guys in your fight, Serena says, which Naruto nods. Good, in the meantime we will hold the front. When backup arrives we counterattack. I will use battle armor and my battle gear together to blast a hole through their defenses for an attack to begin, Naruto said, which Nerzak smiles. Ah, a strategist as well. I see why you like him, Paige, Nerzak says, making Paige blush again, while Naruto laughs at this, not really understanding what Nerzak actually meant. Time skip. The Chaos Bakugan are all around us. They seem to be headed for the city center. The royal palace is their goal, Naruto said to them, looking at a map. Don't worry, they won't make it, not with us standing in their way, Dan said, making Naruto's eyes narrow. Dan, you're not ready to fight yet after that little display at Interspace, Naruto said, looking at Dan seriously. Come on, not this again, dude, we will be fine, Dan said. That's right, Drago said, agreeing with Dan. You haven't fully recuperated from the lady battle. I really think you should hang back on this one, Marucho says, loudly gritting his teeth. I told you we were fine, Dan yells at Marucho, both glaring at one another. Am I missing something? Ren said, confused, then both look away. Nothing, Marucho said. We're good, Dan said. Both Naruto and Shun glance at each other. We need to figure out the enemy's target, Shun said, confusing Dan. Target? Dan said, not getting it. Magmal wouldn't just attack this place for no reason. He must be searching for something. If we know why, then we can stop him, Naruto said, turning to Dan. Who cares what his reason is? He's destroying my home world. We need to take this sucker down. It's that simple, Paige says, earning a sign from Naruto. It's not that simple. He had an army. We can counterattack, but it will waste time and resources, Naga said. Fighting a battle blindly will make you an easy target, Krakik said. Hey Ren, what can you tell us about the enemy's movements? Marucho said, turning to him. How about I show you instead? Ren said, which he presses a button showing a closer image on the enemy. If you look closely at the satellite scans, you can see the movement patterns of the Chaos Bakugan, Ren said. They're all over the place, which makes it strong to predict. Could the Chaos Bakugan be drones while Magmal and Rasengan are the queen bees? Naruto said, and they hear Dan yell in pain, drawing their attention. What's happening? Talk to me, Drago says, concerned, while Dan falls to his knees. It's my head, Dan says, finding his head in pain seeing images. Dalai's Valley, Dan says. Sorry, can't spell it right. Huh? Naruto said to Dan, who stands up. I just heard it. It's the route Magmal is taking, Dan says. Come on, let's have a look, Ren says, pressing buttons, and changes the screen. He said to go north and then go past Dalai's Valley, Dan says to them. Well, if they did take their route, it would lead them directly to the capital. Tell me again how you hear this, Ren said, looking up at Dan. You must have linked up again to Magmal, Dragon says, making everyone's eyes widen at this information. Dan nods. It was like before. Sometimes the things in seeing and doing pop in my head. Trust me. He's passing through Dalai's Valley, Dan said. Are you sure we can trust him if he's linked to Magmal? A guard says, which the other nods agreeing. You know you can trust me, Ren, Dan says, which Ren nods. Sure, Ren says, and they look back at the map. Come on, listen up, Marucho says, gaining their attention. Time skip at Dalai's Valley. This plan of Marucho's totally stinks. I'm not a lie and wait type of girl. It's way too boring, dude, Paige said against a rock next to Naruto. If you keep talking, I'm using the duct tape, Naruto said, showing duct tape, making look away embarrassed. Exactly, Rafe says on the communicator, gaining their attention. You're gonna blow the event of surprise. Just be quiet and trust Marucho's plan, Rafe said to her. Whatever, Paige says, then noticed Naruto looking around. Naruto touches the ground. Something isn't right? I've got a bad feeling about this. If Dan can link up to Dan, then oh no, Naruto says, realizing what's happening, then looks up, seeing a light. Naruto takes out Naga and Krakix. Everyone, it's an ambush. We fell in their trap. Bakugan brawl. Bakugan stand. Naruto yells, immediately throwing both Bakugan, which Naga and Krakix appear and block the blasts. Paige throws her Bakugan, which shields her from lasers. But she looks up to see a laser heading straight for her. Naruto runs, grabbing Paige bridal style, and begins invading the blast, but one of the blasts hits the ground, making it collapse, making Naruto's eyes widen, which he tries to land somewhere else. He lands on the edge, but it collapses, making Naruto's eyes widen. Naruto, Naga yells, seeing both fall in the tunnel. Naga, stay a fight, we'll be okay, Naruto yells to him and fall down faster, trying to catch Paige. Far down in Gundalia, Naruto hits the ground strong, making him spit out BLD, while he's holding Paige in his arms, letting her fall on top of him. DMN ... it. Naruto says, having the air knocked out of him, holding his neck. Naruto, are you? Paige says, but Naruto suddenly tackles her further into the tunnel, dodging big falling rocks. Naruto is breathing strong and looks back to see the way they came is blocked. Naruto looks, but to see that the blasts are making this tunnel unstable, so any wood style would make it collapse. No going back, huh? Naruto says and looks down, noticing that he's currently in top of Paige, who blushing. Will you get off of me? Paige yells, kicking Naruto off strong, making him roll until he hits the tunnel wall. Oh, Naruto said, rubbing his head, while looking at Paige, who's currently has her arms around her body, blushing and glaring at Naruto, who signs. Sorry, guess we're on our own, Naruto says to her, and looks at the small cracks of light at the blocked way they came from, then turns to the dark path that seems to be going further down. Guess we have no choice, we must go further down, Naruto says, and he swore that he heard a roar like a dragon's. Naruto looks down the dark path, swearing he thought he saw some creature in the darkness. See, can't we stay here? Paige says, getting a bad feeling down there. Unknown to the two, there is something watching them that isn't human. I can't see a single thing down here, Naruto says, blind as a bat, while holding onto Paige's hand tightly. Give up, something said, making both freeze. Naruto's eyes narrow as Paige looks around, not seeing anything. War can never be stopped, the voice says again, much more angry. Yes it can, as long as hope still exists, Naruto said, and hears laughter. Are you serious? You must be the biggest fool. I once thought just like you, until I realized that there was no hope. War can never stop, he said angrily, and Naruto starts to sweat, feeling a strong power around him. Paige is holding on to Naruto tightly. What is this power? Naruto thinks and feels like something breathing down his throat. Suddenly there's light, shining lanterns lit, and they're in a huge room. Naruto and Paige's eyes widen, seeing a dragon that looks like a Chinese dragon. Looks like number 46, Dragluan, but its color is black. I am the dragon of balance, Dragulin, Dragulin said, and turns away and moves back to his throne. What do you want? Perhaps you want out of this place, Dragulin says. If you're the dragon of balance, then why don't you help restore the balance? Naruto yells, while the dragon's eyes narrow, and he moves forward to where he's right in front of Naruto, while Paige is next to Naruto. You people have destroyed what was called balance. It's in chaos and I'm tired of it. I just stopped caring and let the balance destroy itself. The universe is better off being destroyer and drown in chaos, Dragulin said, turning away, and a passageway opens up behind the thorn. Now leave me and return to the outside world. I never want to see you people again, otherwise the next time I see you, I'll burn you alive, Dragulin said with black flames coming from his mouth. You must be awfully lonely down here by yourself, Naruto says to the dragon, making Dragulin's eyes narrow more. Ha! You think I hate being lonely? I love it. You living beings are so annoying, and you ruined this world after all I did. Dragulin roars at Naruto, releasing his power, making the cave shake. It's okay to admit you're lonely, Naruto says while anger dishes in Dragulin's eyes and unleashes a blast of black flames consuming the two, but Dragulin's eyes widen, seeing a wooden barrier blocking his black flames while Naruto has his arms wrapped around Paige protectively. Wood? There's only one man I know who can use wood style, Hashirama, Dragulin says, shocked, while the wood recedes. You are lonely, you have up on ever having hope. But hope always lives on inside us all, even you, Naruto said, pointing at Dragulin. Dragulin is taken aback at what Naruto just said. Dragulin moves fast, suddenly wrapping around the two tightly and lifts them in the air while staring at the two with narrowed eyes. You could never understand, boy. I've lived longer than you have. All the worlds are falling apart from chaos. The balance can never be restored. Dragulin roars at Naruto. Will you shut up? Do you always gave to yell? We're right here. Paige yells at the dragon, getting a growl. Will you tell your mate to shut up? I'm talking here, Dragulin says, making Paige blush and start stuttering at what he says along with Naruto. We aren't dating, they yell while Dragulin raises an eyebrow at this. You're kidding, right? You two were holding hands. What the hell am I talking about? Dragulin says, which Naruto just chuckles, confusing the dragon. Well, it seems we're getting along, Naruto said with a smile, confusing the dragon. What are you talking about? Dragulin said, confused along with Paige. Well, I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and this is Paige. We're friends now, Naruto said, making Dragulin's eyes widen in confusion at his words. I never said I would be your friend. I would rather kill you too, Dragulin says, and makes it tighter for them, while Naruto still smiles with a little pain. You're just like him, Dragulin said, making Naruto blink in surprise. Huh? Naruto said in confusion. Hashirama, Dragulin said, and lets go of Naruto and hides in another pathway, looking like a cave, which he goes in it deeply so you can only see its red eyes. Leave now, Dragulin said, while Naruto walks towards him, smiling, angering Dragulin more, and he unleashes a huge blast of flames at Naruto, but it was contained by the wood, and when it disappears, Naruto is seen hugging snout of Dragulin, making his eyes widen. If there's one thing I was taught, is that everyone needs a hug. I figured you'd need one too, Naruto said, making Dragulin's eyes widen, remembering that Hashirama did the exact same thing. Flashback. Rawawawug, Dragulin roars at Hashirama, who waves his right hand. Man, your breath stinks. Ever tried cleaning your mouth? Hashirama said, which Dragulin's eyes twitch. I am Dragulin, the dragon. Dragulin is cut off, hearing snoring to see Hashirama sleeping, angering Dragulin more. Are you trying to PSS me off? Dragulin roars at Hashirama, sweat dropping, which Hashirama wakes up and rubs the back of his head sheepishly. Oh, sorry about that, Hashirama said, and moves fast, hugging the dragon's snout, confusing the hell out of him. What are you doing, brat? Get off of me before I devour you, Dragulin says, which Hashirama just smiles. You seem down, so I decided to give you a hug. Everyone needs a hug once in a while, Hashirama says, smiling. Flashback end. Dragulin starts to turn back to white, as well as his flames becoming white as well. Could it be this is the one you were talking about, Hashirama? Dragulin thinks with his eyes closed, thinking. Tell me, why do you want power? Dragulin says, opening his eyes, looking straight at the surprised Naruto, but Naruto then gains a serious look on his face, surprising the dragon. The only reason I would want power is to protect my friends. That's all I ever wanted, Naruto said, making Dragulin's eyes widen in shock, and a smirk forms on the dragon. Once more, Dragulin thinks, and he touches whose finger to Naruto's forged, which a bright light appears. I see. Your life is strong, but you still move forward into the future. You were the one Hashirama talked about, Dragulin says, smirking, and looks up, then looks back at the two and moves down. Your friends are fighting, I suggest you get on, Dragulin says, surprising the two, making their eyes widen, remembering why they're here. Wait, you're going to take us there? Naruto says, confused, which he signs. Just get on if you want a free ride, Dragulin says, annoyed at Naruto, who rubs the back of his head sheepishly. Hold on, I'm not riding on this ride. Paige is cut off by Naruto, suddenly picking her up bridal style, making her blush, and he jumps on the dragon's back, which Paige sits down blushing. Is there a problem? Naruto said, seeing her blushing more, which Dragulin sweat drops. Even after so many years. You disappoint me, boy. Can't you even tell she's got a crush on you? Dragulin said, making Naruto's eyes widen in shock and starts blushing, while Paige blushes more and begins hitting Dragulin on the head, making the dragon's sweat drop more. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, Dragulin says, earning a glare from Paige. Ya think, Paige yell blushing. So you like me, Paige? Naruto said, and she doesn't turn, looking down. And before she could say something else, the dragon starts to fly up in the air. Hold on, Dragulin yells and suddenly flies upward, making Naruto's legs hold on tightly to the dragon with his hands grazing on the dragon's mane, but Paige starts sliding back, hitting Naruto, making his wrap his right arm around her, surprising Paige. The dragon has already broken through the ceiling and it going through the ground, heading towards the battle. There's a shield around them protecting the three. You okay? Naruto said to her, which she turns facing Naruto and looks down blushing. Naruto puts his left hand to her chin and lifts her head up, making her stare directly at Naruto. Dragulin purposely shakes, making Paige move forward, embrace Naruto, making their eyes widen blushing. Ahahahaha. Dragulin laughs, and after 20 seconds they separate their lips, blushing, both stuttering. Both then look away, still blushing, but then glare at the dragon. Oh come on, you were already gonna embrace, so I just gave you two a little push, Dragulin says and flies towards the battlefield, but suddenly he turns to a ball. Ah, did you just Naruto screams, holding into Paige, as well as she's holding into Naruto, both screaming while falling along with Dragulin. Naruto, Naga yells, grabbing Naruto and Paige in his hands, while Naruto catches Dragulin. Seems that I've breached through my barrier, destroying it. Now I must stay in ball form until battle, Dragulin said to Naruto. Where have you two been? And who's that Bakugan? Naga says, landing in the ground next to Krakix. Where have you guys been? We were worried for you guys, Krakix says, and they see 3 tornadoes created by Zoro, as well as Tachyon unleashing his explosions. Tachyon and Photon are here, huh? Interesting, use me now, Dragulin says, gaining Naruto's attention, looking at him. Are you sure? Naruto said, which the ball changed into its other form, and he nods. Do it, Dragulin said, which Naruto nods, and Dragulin turns back to ball form, which Naruto pulls his right hand back. Bakugan brawl, Naruto yells, throwing Dragulin towards the sky. It brights like a star in a night sky, but brighter, gaining everyone's attention. Bakugan stand, the dragon of balance, Dragulin, Naruto yells, which the ball transforms, revealing a white Chinese dragon, shocking everyone. It can't be, he found the dragon of balance before me, Magmel says angrily. I'm back, Dragulin says, which his eyes glow brightly. All the Chaos Bakugan fire their beams at them. Ability activate, balance shift, Naruto yells, which all the beams stop in midair, shocking them. Then they suddenly go backwards, hitting all the Chaos Bakugan that fired it, making explosions. Ability activate, balance beam, Naruto yells, which Dragulin unleashes a beam from its mouth, which it changes course in different directions at the speed of sound, only hitting the enemy Chaos Bakugan, creating explosions in the air. I was expecting more, Dragulin says, but a blast hits him straight in the face, making an explosion. Ahahaha, I can defeat this old dragon easily, Raisenoid says, but he stops, seeing 2 glowing red eyes glaring at him. Ability activate, flash eclipse, Magmel yells, which Raisenoid unleashes a black beam at Dragulin. Ability activate, devastation cannon, Dragulin roars, unleashing a white beam which hits the black, making an explosion in between the. Ability activate, Nova cannons, Naruto yells, roars, which Naga is behind them, making the 2 turn to them and are consumed by the beams, making an explosion. The 2 reappear, jumping out if the explosion covered in scratches, but it wasn't done yet. Ability activate, Asura 9/style. Naruto yells again, which Rasengan turns to see Krakix running straight at him and in one move slashes him 9 times, making him roar. Drago wraps around Rasengan, who begins struggling. Enough! Rasengan roars, unleashing his power, sending Drago crashing into rocks. We must retreat for now. We are at a disadvantage. If he were to summon 3 Mechtogans, but even worse 3 Titans, we would be annihilated. We must leave now. The gate and key Drago and Kuso passes will have to wait for another day, MangaMuse says, disappearing along with Rasengan and the Chaos Bakugan. Naruto and Marucho overheard what he says about the gate key. They're retreating. They knew they were at a disadvantage, Krakix says, which Naga nods. They turn to see Drago facing Tachyon. Hello again, brother, Drago says to Tachyon. Ah, if it isn't the weakest of us 3, Tachyon speaks is a deeper, darker voice, making Drago's eye twitch. You always knew how to PSS me off, Drago says with his head butting against Tachyon's, but it's cut off by both receding. Sign well, this is interesting, Mihawk says while Zoro nods. 2 of the 3 have awakened, Zoro said to him, and both look at Shun. Time skip at HQ. He played me, Dan yells angrily while he punched the wall. If this link still exists between the 2 of them, we need to think about what that means to our security, Paige says to them. This can't happen again, people will get injured, Naruto says to them. He's in my head, Dan says to himself while Naruto signs. Hours later. So the Bakugan are heading for the portal. If they get there, then they can get to Nethia quickly. That must be why they're heading for the palace, Naruto says, surprising them. Are you serious? Rafe says. Do you know where MangaMuse is now? Shun says to Ren. Kind of. We're picking of bio waves that are being sent to the Chaos Bakugan. We believe it's MangaMuse giving orders, and it suggests he's hiding underground, Ren said, showing MangaMuse's base. Paige punches the table. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. It's time we smoke that rat out of his hole and squash him, Paige says while Drago signs. Why is the female always stupid? Drago says, but stops cold, feeling phobia, and Alice glare down on the Bakugan, which makes Drago start to sweat at this. And not you guys, Drago says, not wanting to be sent to the demon foxes he keeps hearing of. Either way, we don't want to be ambushed again, Naruto said to Paige, who growls. Find them, Paige says, and Naruto pats her on the head while saying, good girl. So let's go take care of that swarm of chaos cockroaches first. And then Drago and I will find MangaMuse and we'll finish him off too, Dan says while Drago looks at Naruto. You are right, he's fallen quite far thinking if his abilities as mighty. We all have limits, Drago says, which Naruto nods. Sorry Dan, but you guys are gonna have to sit this one out, Marucho says, shocking them. Huh? Dan says while everyone is surprised except Naruto, Naga, Krakix, and Drago. What are you talking about? Quit fooling around, Marucho, Dan says to Marucho, who had a serious look on his face. I'm not fooling around, rid time Dan. You need to take yourself out if this next battle, Marucho says, making Dan angry. What for? Dan yells at Marucho. The reason our last plan fell apart was because MangaMuse used your link to reach your kind and see the ambush we had planned. We can't risk being ambushed like that again. Not to mention you're not in fighting shape. Have your brain invaded repeatedly is taking a toll on your body. You're a liability, Marucho says. What? That's just crazy talk, Dan says, not agreeing. I went against my better judgment before and allowed Drago to fight. But he had no control over his powers, and you've seen what happened, Naruto says, gaining Dan's attention. But things are different now, Drago says, which Naga shakes his head. I'm the original battle brawler, you're not gonna keep me from this fight. I came to free Gundalia, Dan yells at Naruto. If you go in guns blazing, you'll end up dead. The stupid ones die first, Naruto says, completely serious. Who are you calling a risk? Dan yells, grabbing Naruto's shirt as Naruto grabs Dan's shirt. How many times have I saved your bacon over the years, huh? And now you're gonna call me a threat to the team, Dan yells. You? It was always everyone. It was never just you, Dan. Everyone helped. Have you forgotten the sacrifices people made, Wyvern? If you are too blonde to see that, then you will not leave this vase until we return, Naruto yells at Dan, shocking him. of you say you're the leader. Stop acting like a spoiled brat thinking he's all powerful. What would your mother think if she saw you? Naruto says, and Dan throws a punch, shocking them as it was about to connect. Someone catches it. Look at yourself in a mirror. Right in this very moment, who is the real threat? Mag, Mel, or you? Mihawk says, letting Dan's hand go. Naruto, there's a problem, Ren says, suddenly gaining Naruto's attention. What? Naruto said to him, and notices Paige and Rafe are gone. Nami-ji, his eyes widen. It looks like Paige and Rafe have gone after Mag Mel. Ren is cut off by Naruto, leaving the room fast heading for Mag Mel's base. Time skip. Paige and Rafe are hiding behind a pillar watching Mag Mel's base when they hear footsteps and turn to see Naruto, Mihawk, Shun, Marucho, Dan, Fabia, and Alice. Shadow, Link, and Hydra stayed behind. Are you two completely insane? Naruto yells at Paige. I'm through standing around as Gundalia is burned to the ground, Paige yells back. Yes, we need to take immediate action, Rafe says as Naruto shakes his head, but they hear a roar and look up to see a chaos Bakugan fire, a beam at their feet making the ground collapse. They yell falling while Mihawk's eyes narrow and falls towards the side of the hole they're falling into and jumps off it, catching Naruto and Shun as they fall. Time skip 1 minute later. Naruto, Shun, and Dan are currently walking through a dark tunnel. Alice, Paige, and Fabia are traveling together while Marucho, Mihawk, and Rafe are together. Not good, Naruto said, looking from a corner to see Chaos Bakugan. We can't start a fight here. Who knows if this place will collapse on us, Naruto said to them. We should avoid drawing attention, Mihawk said, and noticed Shun glaring at him, making him sign. What is it you want, Shun? Mihawk said, but stopped, seeing the look in his eyes. So, you want to do this now, of all times? Mihawk says, turning completely to Shun. Naruto, grief and sorrow. Why? Why did you leave? Shun said those few words which made Mihawk stop talking. You already know, I was being held back, so I left to become stronger, Mihawk says, but Shun grits his teeth. No, it wasn't, Shun said, making Mihawk confused. You were just running away, Shun said, making Mihawk's eyes widen while Naruto looks between the two. After Dad died, you left. You abandoned us when we needed you the most. You're a coward, Shun says, making a fist while Mihawk looks down. Because of you, I suffered so much. The reason why I hate you. Why didn't you take me with you? Shun says, with tears going down his eyes, making Mihawk's eyes widen in complete shock. Why didn't I take you? Mihawk said, with his words repeating in his head as he sits down against a rock. Mihawk, Zoro said, while Tachyon appears on his other shoulder. I'm an idiot. I never considered your feelings. I never knew, Mihawk said, and closes his eyes, seeing flashbacks of him and Shun. Flashback. Oh, Shun said, coveted in scratches, being carried piggyback by Mihawk walking through the woods. Shun, next time watch what you do. That bear almost killed you. If I wasn't here, then you would have died, Mihawk said, while Shun looks down sadly. You and I are flesh and blood. I'm always going to be there for, even as an obstacle for you to overcome. That's what big brothers gets are for, Mihawk says with a smile, while Shun has a small smile on his face. Yeah, but you always do this, putting everything off and only show up when I'm endangered. Why can't you start longer? Shun said, which Mihawk shrugs. I have things to do, what I can only do. You not all alone, you have Naruto and Dan, remember, Mihawk says, which Shun's smile widens. Yeah, but I never get to spend any time with you, Mihawk. I want to become stronger than you. You scared away true bear with just killing intent, Shun said, which Mihawk chuckles. It's not all that easy, but one day you can surpass me completely, and when that day comes, my sword will be yours, Mihawk says, which Shun smiles more. That was the last time we were together. Flashback end. I see now why Prime Photon can't awake. It's because of me. You didn't tell me what you felt, Mihawk says to Shun with sadness. Shun, I've always pushed you away from me. I didn't want you to become like me. A foolish brother who abandoned his own family. Now I think of it this way. If I'd faced you honestly from the beginning, if we told each other the truth as equals, I failed, Mihawk says, opening his eyes as he stands up and walks towards Shun and extends his right hand. I won't put myself above you and tell you this and that. I lost that right a long time ago. But for this time for once, I will tell you small truth, Mihawk said as he wraps his right arm around Shun's neck and moves forward with their heads butting against each day. It's okay if you hate me with all your heart, but no matter what happened, I will always love you, and that will never change, Mihawk said, and with those words, the stone Bakugan in Shun's pocket flows brightly, shocking Naruto and Shun. Theme end. Sniff sniff. Shun has tears coming down his eyes. Shun, Talion said as Shun takes out the stone Bakugan while the Chaos Bakugan approaches. Now be reborn, embodiment of the light that guides the future. Galaxy eyes, Shun yells, sticking the stone Bakugan in the air which glows brightly. Prime Photon Dragon, Shun yells, which the Bakugan floyd high in the air and transforms, making everyone shield themselves from the bright light blinding them. So that's it, the final dragon, Naruto said, and his eyes widen as Dragulin and Tachyon fly up high and transform to their real forms. The three Dragon Kings return, Naga said, shocked. I have awakened, Prime said. Ahihehe, hello again, Prime, Tachyon said, while Dragulin nods. Ah yes, it's good that we three have returned, Dragulin said. Ability activate, Eternity Photon Stream, Shun yells as Prime opens his mouth as a huge amount if light is focused into it. Ability activate, Ultimate Tachyon Spiral, Mihawk yells as Tachyon opens its mouth focusing a huge amount of darkness. Ability activate, Divine Blazing Wrath, Naruto yells as Dragulin opens his mouth and a huge amount of green light is focused in it. Fire, the three yell, which all three unleash their beams blinding everyone. Outside. A giant beam of light tips through the ground heading for the sky, obliterating any Chaos Bakugan it came into contact with. Everyone's shocked seeing the beam and more shocked when the beam turned into a dragon. Looks like number 100, Numeran Dragon from Yujo's Exile. Roar! The dragon roars loudly and disappears by light. The three Dragon Kings have been resurrected, Nerzak says, shocked at this. Back underground. All the Chaos Bakugan were obliterated from the combined attacks, but there was something else. It created a giant hole straight towards Magmel's base. Let's move forward, we attack now, Naruto says on top of Dragulin's head with the other two, all three heading for Magmel, where Dan and Magmel are. Come my servants, Magmel yells, extending his hand in the air, which multiple Mech Titans come down. Mechtogen, Dan says angrily, seeing he's outnumbered. Magmel's servants appear at his side. You are about to be obliterated, one of them yell. But it will be a graceful event, the other said. We'll see about that, Dan said as all 10 Michotkan stare down at him, and before they could do anything, 3 beams slice through all of them, making Dan's eyes widen in shock as he turns to see the 3 Dragon Kings with Naruto, Mihawk, and Shun on too, if their heads as well as the others following behind. So Magmel, I think this war is about over, Naruto said, crossing his arms while Magmel grits his teeth under the mask. This isn't good, we're heavily outnumbered, Anubius said. There's still no match for us, Selen says. Using their real names, but they don't know it's them yet. Hey guys, Dan said. Thanks for coming, Drago says. Seriously Dan, always getting yourself in trouble. But Rafe told me everything. It's not that I don't trust you, it's that you were acting like you could take on the world. It just PSS me off, Naruto said as Dan nods understanding. Yeah, I feel like such an idiot for what I was doing, Dan said sadly. Can we discuss this later? Naga said, arriving with Krakix and Zoro, which they just eliminated the other Chaos Bakugan. Dan, take down Magmel, we'll take down. Well, Achun. There isn't any Michotkans to even take down, Naruto said, scratching his head. Pathetic Magmel, a dark voice inside Magmel's head. Eliminate now, the voice said, and a giant cloud appears over all of them as Magmel unleashes a huge amount of chaos energy along with Raisnoid. What? Naruto said, shocked, as some kind of Mechtogen comes down. It has 10 heads along with a tail with a snake's head at the end. One head is a dragon, one head a tiger, another a lion, panther, shark, wolf, bear, eagle, hawk. The biggest has long pointy teeth as well as red glowing eyes resembling a wolflion's head. A Mechtogen chimera? But Paige said, shocked, and the Mechtogen suddenly extends wings as it flush up high out of the building. We must rest now, Drago said as he and the other two returned to ball form. The other then get in the Bakugan and were brought out of the base, which they're looking directly at the chimera, which is causing destruction as it unleashes Muriel's destructive beams. This isn't good, Bolderin said as Wolfurio nods. I agree, thus isn't like the other Michakans, it resembles a far dangerous version of a chimera, Rafe says as one of the heads turns to them. The biggest head opens its mouth, which a orange-colored ball forms in its mouth and electricity forms. Ability activate. Nova Cannon, Naruto screams as Naga unleashes two powerful beams at the chimera, which the ball shrinks tremendously to that of a ball, and the chimera wars it and unleashes an orange beam which completely destroys Naruto's, while Naga pushes Krakix out of the way, dodging the beam. It looks like 10 tails long beam which it used against 8 and 9 tails. Such power, oh no, Naruto said as the chimera moves its head as the beam starts moving towards them. Naruto claps his gaffs together, which a giant tree starts forming, and it hits the chimera making its beam miss, but it wasn't done yet as the other mouths opens abs fire multiple colored beams at them, making Naruto's eyes widen. What is this? Naruto thinks with wide eyes as the beams are changing directions like they're bouncing off of thin air, which all 9 beams hit their target. Talion, Krakix, and Zoro slid back. Before anyone noticed, the chimera was behind them, and its body changed to that of a humanoid body minus the 10 heads and snake tail. The chimera claps its hands together and waves hand size as it unleashes a water, wind, fire, lightning, earth attack from its mouth, which fuse and making everyone dodge it. Attack, Naruto yells as Naga appears behind the chimera wearing the battle armor. Chimera looks at Naruto and unleashes another orange beam. I'll absorb it, Naga roars as a shield firms in front of him, but the beam goes around Naga, making everyone's eyes widen as before Naga could fully turn. The beams mix together to form a smaller, more powerful beam, and it breaks through the absorption shield going through Naga's shoulder. Naga, Naruto yells as Naga flies down to Naruto with his shoulder armor destroyed. This isn't right, Naga thinks as he turns to the chimera, and all the eyes show 10 tails. This isn't a normal mech token. Someone must have given it this unbelievable power, Naruto said as he claps his hands together, which giant roots come out of the ground wrapping around the chimera, which roars as it begins struggling against the tree roots. Now veins start building from Naruto's forehead as well as his body. Naruto's hands hold onto each other as markings form on Naruto's face. I won't allow you to hurt anyone, Naruto roars as the ground erupts, shocking everyone. Sage art. True several thousand hands, Naruto roars as BLD begins coming out of his mouth. A giant wooden statue rises from the ground with thousands of hands on the back, which is far taller than all the Bakugan, shocking them. The chimera unleashes multiple beams while the statue unleashes 1,000's barrage fist attack. The fists soon overpower the chimera completely as it begins beating the hell out of the mech token. Naruto, that's enough, stop. Alice yells with tears in her eyes as ages seeing Naruto as pushing himself to the very limit, trying to stop this monster before it can get serious. By the time the barrage was over, all the hands of the statue's hands were destroyed, which it then collapses as Naruto falls, which Naga catches him and lays him on ground. Naruto, Fabia yells as she and Alice run to Bust's side, which they're shocked to see BLD coming out from his mouth as well as his nose. Why? Alice said as Age holds Naruto closely, which he glances and points, which everyone turns with shock, to which they see the mech token repairing itself. It's not dead yet, Naruto said weakly as everyone feels the ground shake, which they turn to see an enraged Naga, which his cannon appears attaching to his back, and it charges up. Ultimate Evolution Cannon. Naga roars unleashes all 10 beams, which all of them hit a certain point, creating a giant black sphere, and it unleashes a giant black beam, consuming the chimera, completely obliterating it. Naga, Naruto said as the markings disappear as he passes out. New Vestroya. Truly magnificent, just like Hashirama, Madara said watching the video. Madara, if I'm right, you would have to go all out if you faced it, Itachi said, which he nods. I agree. But that's changed. I have found a way to obtain more power, Madara says as he smiles darkly. Inside Bakugan Interspace. Huh? Naruto said as his eyes open slowly to find he's alone in a room. What happened? Naruto said as he blinks tired as well as his visions blurry, which he stands up shakily. Naruto begins going through the hallway while using the wall to steady himself. How long have I been asleep? Naruto thought as he enters the door to find a knocked out Dan and Selen who's standing over Dan with a circle on her arm, causing his eyes to widen. Stop, Naruto yelled as he goes to attack her, but she looks at Naruto, she jumps back dodging. By that time Shun enters. I knew you were lying, Shun yelled, confusing Naruto at this. Mind your own business, Shun, this just between Dan and I, Selen says, causing Naruto's eyes to narrow. You're wrong, Selen, now give it back, Shun yelled, causing her to laugh. You can't be serious, dear boy, Selen said, which suddenly the wall is ripped say behind Selen, which her Bakugan hand is behind Selen, who's now standing on her Bakugan's hand as it pulls away. What? Naruto aid, but he hits the ground unable to move, incredibly weak. Naruto, Shun says, leaning down at Naruto's side as he extends his right hand at Selen. I said, stop, Naruto yelled as a giant wood hand bursts from the ground after Spyron, which Selen's eyes widen as she jumps off of her Bakugan fast, which it was then forced by the hand into crashing into a building which it proceeds to collapse on it. Naruto's vision starts to become more clear as he shakes his head standing up. What happened? Naruto said as he then falls to one knee, unable to stand up, feeling like his body is being weighed down by a truck. Meeting room. You trusted her, Naruto said, while Alice is wrapping bandages around his head, while Fabia is wrapping some around his entire arms and hands. I thought we could trust her, Dan says, but Naruto sighs. You can't just trust them like that. They must prove themselves to be trusted as well as be watched, Naruto said as he begins to stand up, but he falls back into the chair. Naruto, you can't move. You're too weak to even fight, Link says while Hydra is twirling his hair. You're unable to fight at this level. Even Shadow knows of as much as an idiot he is, Hydra said, which Shadow nods but suddenly stops. Wait. Hey, Shadow said angrily at Hydra, who shrugs at this. Dang it, Naruto said as he looks at his hands which are shaking, unable to stop. Naruto, please just don't fight, Alice said in front of Naruto as well as Fabia. Yeah, you can't fight in your condition. Your body isn't strong enough, Fabia said, all not wanting Naruto to hurt himself more. But Naruto proceeds to stand up shakily as he closes his eyes, making a fist which the shaking stops. But he hits the floor, unable to get up again as everything becomes black. Is Naga and Krakix awake yet? Dan asks as Shun shakes his head. They are connected with each other. Naruto is weak, which his Bakugans must sleep to conserve power, so they won't be able to fight as long as they can fight, Dragulin said in his ball form, looking at Naruto being carried by Dan and Shun back to his room. The while time Shun was thinking at what happened. What was that? It looked like his eyes changed, as well as what was that gravity move. It's different from his wood attack, Shun thought as he looks at the passed out Naruto. Dream. Naruto wakes up again within his mind to find Hashirama once again at a board game set on the table. Want to play? Hashirama asked as Naruto sighs as he nods, sitting down. 30 minutes later. You see, the village I once loved in, what me and Madara originally desired, was something that could connect our clans with others. It was an important cornerstone to turn chaos into order and maintain it. Something to protect children and avoid ideas quarrels. A place ruled by peace. Perhaps what Madara says once was true. Maybe he was able to predict what would have happened. I am the shinobi who created this situation, and I'm also the one who thought it was fine that way. I think that shinobi are people who endure to achieve their goals, but depending on what they choose as their goal, they change. Like Madara and I, Hashirama said, which Naruto closes his eyes. Shinobi are people who endure to achieve their goals, Naruto said as he opens his eyes. My goal was to build the village, but Madara had found something else. Hashirama says as Naruto looks away as he closes his eyes. It seems that what has happened in the past will occur once more. I will stop Madara in your place, Naruto said, causing Hashirama to smile as he ruffles Naruto's hair. Then, it's time that you can fully, Hashirama says as everything becomes white. Dream end. Naruto's eyes open slowly as he sits up while his right hand is on his face. Weird. I feel like my body is overflowing with power. I feel like, Naruto said as unknown to him Naga and Krakix are glowing brightly. As Naruto sits up he finds clothes folded. Naruto puts his Akatsuki cloak on as his eyes narrow hearing explosions which Naruto walks to the dresser which both Bakugan stop glowing as Naruto picks both up as he then proceeds to look out the window to see the sky turn red with lines. Seems I better help out, Naruto said as he jumps out the window. Bakugan brawl, Naruto yells throwing both Bakugan that glow nightly as an eruption occurs shocking Naruto. What the? Naruto said with shock. Naruto lands on the ground, but he stares with wide eyes at what he's seeing when the light faded. From Digimon. You guys, evolved? Naruto said with wide eyes as both their eyes glow brightly. Where the others are. Dan, Shun, Marucho, Mihawk, and Naruto's team are currently at the gate protecting the young battlers while the gate opened. They heard an explosion. She turns to see an army of Chaos Bakugan heading towards them. We've got company, Paige said with narrowed eyes while Dan's eyes widen. But how? There's just no way they could follow us here, Dan said not understanding how they arrived. They didn't have to, Dan. You all became so predictable so it wasn't very strong for them to guess where to find you, ahahaha. Plus, I told them, Dylan says sitting on a building's edge angering Dan. Dylan you creep, Dan yelled angrily but Dylan makes a TCH sound. Oh please, was I supposed to let you guys destroy me too? Dylan says as he disappears while Selen and Anubius's Bakugan arrive. All 6 Bakugan are staring at the kids who are shocked. But just as they arrived they all see a flash of red which all 6 turn into fall forms which shocks everyone. That was fast, I almost didn't see him, Mihawk said with wide eyes causing the others to look towards him shocked while they felt a gust of wind which they all turned to find Krakix behind them. Who are you? Shun said which Krakix looks at Shun. I am Krakix Knight, I've evolved, Krakix said looking exactly like Omniman from Digimon. Krakix looks up to see all the flying Percival Chaos Bakugan fire beams towards him. Ability activate, Transcendent Sword, a voice yelled from somewhere which from Krakix's left hand, a blade with ancient symbols appears from the mouth of his hand, which Krakix beings his left hand back, and in one swings reflected every single beam sending them all back in ball form causing explosions all over the sky. Ability activate, Supreme Cannon, Naruto yelled again somewhere which from Krakix's right hand, a cannon comes out of it which he extends his right hand and fires one blast causing a huge explosion which he fires another then another enveloping all the Chaos Bakugan in the sky. As this is happening, Mechtogans are heading for them while the Bakugan players are evacuating but one by one Mechtogan appear but in just a flash of silver. The Mechtogans disappears which next to Krakix is Naga looking like Slayerdramon from Digimon. Sorry we're late, Naruto said as he jumps down from Naga's shoulder, which everyone is shocked seeing Naruto and the newly evolved Bakugan. These Mechokans are annoying, Naga said as Naruto nods. Naga, is that you? Drago asks surprised which Naga looks at Drago. My new name is Naganoid but Naga is better but right now. I'll eliminate them all, Naga said to him which Naruto extends his right arm towards the sky. Witness, Draco Meteor Shower, Naruto yelled which they all look up to see a golden dragon coming out of the sky. 5, Naruto said. 4, Krakix said to which the others' eyes widen as the golden dragon heads straight for the Mechtogans which fire at it. 3, Naga said while the beams hit the dragon but it's withstanding it. 2, Krakix said as the dragon glows brightly. 1, Naruto said as the dragon unleashes 1,000 bright falling spheres looking like a meteor shower. 0, Naga said as they all watch in shock as one by one every single mentor crashes down causing an explosion consuming Mechtogans as well as destroying them. Insane, Shun said as they're surrounded by destruction as there's explosions happening everywhere while Dan is completely shocked at the power of one of Naga's new abilities. By that time the only ones left are Dan and Naruto as they see the attack ended as they don't see a single sign of the evil Mechtogan and Bakugan, but suddenly a huge cloud appears above them as it unleashes purple lightning summoning out an army if Mechtogan. He's planning on overrunning us but... Ability activate, Nova, Naruto said as Naga creates a light pink sphere in his hands which it's starting to become unstable. Impact, Naruto said as the sphere unleashes a giant beam consuming the Mechitogans, which Naga turn around causing Dragonto, such as Naga does a 180 turn obliterating the Mechitogans, which after he's done both Naga and Krakix go back in ball form and return to Naruto. We're leaving, Naruto said as he stands in the teleported, which he disappears. At Earth. Naruto appears in the lab as Shun, and the others were waiting for them, which after a few seconds Dan appears. By that time they hear the alarms going off as they watch Bakugan Interspace being deleted, which the computers start going blank one after the other. I can't believe Interspace is gone, Shun says with wide eyes. Good thing Soptra and Helios got out of there alive. Naruto was cut off as his eyes widen feeling it. They turn to see a video screen flashing, which from it they find 9 huge spheres in the sky above Bakugan Interspace, which the others run outside, to which they're now staring at the 9 dark moons in shock. This doesn't feel right. This isn't MangaMuse's power, Drago said, while Naruto's eyes are completely wide as they're staring at it. Suddenly one of them starts to grow bigger as it's now become ever larger than the other dark spheres, while the civilians are watching in shock. Inside the dark moon. We have awaited you, Mr. R, MangaMuse said with a now as a dark portal appears in front of him, which Madara and the others of Team New Works walk through the portal, which MangaMuse bows along with the newly evolved Rasenoid. You've done well, MangaMuse. But you disappoint me, Madara said as he activates his Sharingan, confusing MangaMuse. Mr. R, what do you argue? MangaMuse was cut off as a Susanoo arms appears as its hand slams into MangaMuse, sending him crashing into Rasenoid, who catches him. They now have the 3 legendary dragons. Naga has evolved again, which one more time he evolves he will be God Naganoid. You disappoint me greatly, so I'll be taking that power of yours, Madara said, and before MangaMuse could say anything Madara's armor pierces through his armor, which a dark energy-like stream starts to appear from MangaMuse as it's absorbed by Madara, which from it the armor shatters, showing a teenage Barodius who's wide-eyed, but the Sharingan lantern in his eyes disappear, which Barodius hits the ground while Rasenoid hits the ground too as he's transformed back into his original form as Darak. You are no more use to me. Side with whoever you want. Fight against us, then you die, Madara said, which both Barodius and Darak disappear. Why did you allow them to live? Obito asks, wearing his war outfit. I'm curious of what he will do and to see if he can give us a challenge also, Madara said, which he smirks darkly, which he opens his right hand, showing a green aura like light. He was able to have the forbidden power generate within him, and he doesn't even know, Madara said as he smiled widely. Outside. As this is happening, Spectra arrived, which is airship, as they are all staring at the huge black sphere, which their eyes widen as from it a black sphere comes down towards them. Move, Naruto yelled as he grabs Alice bridal style, and everyone jumps out if the way which the sphere crashes into the side of a building, which they see a bright light and find an unconscious Barodius looking like he's in his teenage years, as well as Darak his ball form. What the hell? Naruto said as he lets Alice down, which they turn to see the spheres and images appear on each one of the dark moons, while Madara's on the biggest one. The ones they see are Kasame, Sasori, Deidara, Nagato, Obito, Kakuzu, Itachi, and Konan. Now, let's begin, Madara says, smiling darkly, while this is happening live on TV everywhere on Earth. Spectra is currently staring at the huge black sphere, which their eyes widen at the dark moons, while Madara's on the biggest one smiling, while the others Kasame, Sasori, Deidara, Nagato, Obito, Kakuzu, Itachi, and Konan. Now, here's how I'll explain. This would and everyone in it will end, Madara says, causing their eyes to widen in shock at his words. What? What are you talking about? Naruto asks, confused, which Madara just smiles. You see, we'll be reviving 10 Tails the Beast if destruction and won't need anyone in our way. Your only chance is to defeat us all, Madara says, confusing Naruto, but the Bakugans are shocked. 10 Tails. So, that thing does exist. Naga says, shocked at remembering that he heard of the demon Bakugan that was something formed in the darkness of the universe. Is that all you're going to tell us? Naruto asks as Kasame. You've got to beat us to gain more information, Kasame said with a smile, causing their eyes to narrow. So right now he only gave us his main objective without mentioning anything, Naruto thought to himself at this, which the pictures soon disappear as rectangle doors of light appears on the spheres, as a staircase of light appears as Naruto blinks in surprise as they narrow. 9 doors, 9 enemies. We must split up and take them down, Naruto said as they nod. Who goes with who? Mihawk asks as everyone looks at each other. I'm coming too, someone says, which Naruto turns seeing Boruto standing up as he holds his head with his left hand, causing them to go on the offensive while Naruto just stares at him. Okay, Naruto shocking everyone as they stare at him shocked and surprised at his words. Naruto, Shun said, which Naruto sighs. There was something odd about Boruto when we fought. It turns out he was controlled, Naruto said, shocking them. Everything's was blurry, Darak said as he opens up to them. The power of Madara grits teeth. I was controlled by someone like him, Boruto said with anger at this, while Naruto sighs and turns away as he begins walking towards the biggest orb. Dan, Spectra, and Boruto. Come with me, we're heading for the leader. Boruto, if you try anything I'll make you pay, but good to have you back, Naruto said as he begins walking. Everyone. You're all strong, so I know you can handle this battle, so be prepared. You're going to fight like you've never fought before, Naruto said to them. What about us? Fabia asks, standing next to Paige, which Naruto turns to them. You guys must stop the others. Each one is very powerful, and they can hurt a lot of people, so I believe in you guys, Naruto said as he begins walking, which then throws Drago into Shun, confusing him as he catches it. Use Drago well, Shun. I believe in you, Naruto said to him as they're walking, which Shun looks down at the Bakugan. Good luck, everyone, Naruto thought to himself as they begin walking. Can someone tell me why in a teenager? Boruto asks them, confused, which Naruto shrugs. Don't know, but you're about our age, Alice says to him. Why is he here? Dan asks with narrowed eyes as he looks at Boruto, who's starting to get annoyed at being stared at. Naga was once evil, but look at him now, Naruto said to them as they're walking. Good luck, everyone, Naruto thought to himself as they're walking. When the battle, it happened at the same time. Everyone, move out, Naruto yelled, which they mid as they begin heading for each sphere. 10 minutes later. Alice is currently walking through a desert within one of the powers by herself as Chaos Hydronoid. Alice, we aren't alone here, Hydronoid says as in front of her is sand forming into one center as it gets bigger. From it Deidara appears as the sand comes off himself. So, you're the once famous Masquerade, huh? Deidara said, causing Alice's eyes to narrow at this, while Deidara smiles as the ground starts shaking, causing her eyes to widen, in which as the ground starts shaking as behind Deidara, the sand starts rising as Alice takes a few steps back in shock at this, as she's seeing a monster made of sand rise from the ground. Roar! The beast roars loudly. It roars, causing a huge sand eruption to happen, as there's large waves of sand happening under their feet as Alice starts to lose balance as she holds her place, while the beast stops as sand is pouring from its mouth as they're watching with wide eyes. Ability activate. Sand eruption, Deidara says, which Alice's eyes widen as she's consumed by the sand, as there's an eruption of sand consuming Alice as the sand swirls around and soon recedes back into the ground, disappearing as there's not even a sigh of Alice and Hydronoid. Well, that was easy, Deidara said as he turns away and begins walking away as Shukaku growls, gaining his attention. What's wrong? Deidara stops as the sand begins shaking, causing his eyes to widen in complete and utter shock. You actually think I lost? Pathetic, a new voice said, causing Deidara's eyes to widen as the sand starts rising, which from it, they see Hydronoid slowly rising with the sand pouring off of him. Now you've PSS me off, the sane person said as Deidara's eyes widen in complete shock, staring at the new person on top of the middle head of Hydronoid, which there's a man wearing Dark Zane's outfit from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. But he's wearing Masquerade's mask. It can't be. It just can't. You're still alive, Masquerade, Deidara said, not being told about him. It's Neo Masquerade. It's time for me to make my reappearance since this I'm mine and Alice's second evolution, Masquerade said while Deidara grits his teeth. Then let's begin. I'll show you our full power, mine, Alice, and Hydronoid. You're only one tail which one of us can defeat you, so you don't have a single chance against me, Masquerade said as he starts to give off a black aura along with Hydronoid. Then bring it, I'll make you eat this words, Deidara said with anger as Shukaku growls. Then let's begin, Masquerade said smiling. The wind starts to pick up as small sand twisters start appearing around them. Ability activate, drilling air bullet, Deidara yelled as Shukaku opens his mouth and fires a large blast is air straight at Hydronoid. Ability activate, hydro marking, Masquerade said as symbols appear in the air in front of Hydronoid, which as it hits the symbols the attack disappeared. Huh? Deidara said, but his eyes widen as the symbols appears next to Shukaku, as the air bullet comes out sending Shukaku crashing into the ground. That ability can teleport any projectile attack at our enemy. Hydronoid simply wanted to return your attack, Masquerade said to him, causing Deidara's eyes to narrow in anger. Ability activate, sand scattering bullets, Deidara yelled, which Shukaku unleashes a barrage of small sand bullets, which Hydronoid brings both arms up as he's hit by the bullets, which Hydronoid's eyes narrow, but his eyes widen as he's unable to move, which symbols appear on Hydronoid. You see those bullets immobilizes my opponent's Bakugan, causing it to be unable to move. Ability activate, giant sand tsunami, Deidara said as Shukaku roars as he slams both hands on the ground, causing it to shake as a large wave of sand heads for the two as Masquerade stares at it. Hydronoid, Masquerade said, which his eyes glow as he roars loudly, which the symbols dissipates causing his eyes to widen. Ability activate, first impact, Masquerade said loudly as Hydronoid lets out a loud roar causing a shockwave causing the tsunami to be pushed back as the roar intensifies causing Deidara to shakes himself as he begins skidding back at the roar is pushing the sand away while Masquerade begins running up Hydronoid's tail as he gets on his shoulder. We need someone distance, Masquerade said as Hydronoid glances at him. Understood, was all Hydronoid said as he entered his wings and begins flying up fast and high causing Deidara's eyes to narrow. Ability activate, sand seeking the slee, Deidara yelled as a tendril of sands bursts from the sand from under them as it chases the two, which Hydronoid looks back. We're being tailed, Hydronoid said, causing Masquerade to smirk. Keep getting higher, Masquerade says it, still smirking as the sand speeds up towards them, which they begin moving around as they then head straight down, which the sand follows as they're heading straight for Shukaku and Deidara, whose eyes widen in realization, but it was too late as Hydronoid suddenly moves fast as he dodges the sand middle, which rams into Shukaku, causing him to growl in annoyance as the two continue to fall high while looking down. But his eyes widen as multiple tendrils begins chasing them as they speed up, which Masquerade looks back as they get higher in the air, which the tendrils soon stop. Masquerade, Hydronoid yelled as his eyes widen to find that there's a large amount of sand tendrils heading for them. Ability activate, sphere field, Masquerade said as Hydronoid begins firing multiple ball down as they explode, causing multiple explosions in the sky, while sand falls down as Hydronoid speeds thought the sky, but Deidara smirks. Ability activate, giant sag's prison, Deidara yelled as a shadow comes over Hydronoid and Masquerade as they're inside a gushy sand ball, which it's closing, which his eyes narrow as or closes. Ability activate, second impact, Masquerade said as it finally closes while Deidara smiles but stops as 5 lasers explode from it as Masquerade is falling from the sand sphere, which sand begins chasing him as it grabs his leg and throws him straight down towards the ground fast as Masquerade is unable to stop as he just smiles. Gate card open, fourth judgment, Masquerade said as time itself froze, causing Masquerade to freeze in the air along with Shukaku and Deidara, while in the sky multiple lasers rain down creating explosions sending Shukaku back. A Hydronoid grabs Masquerade out of the air as he returns to normal, which he looks back at Shukaku getting back up, while Masquerade is smirking at this, causing Deidara to glare at him as he grits his teeth. When did you set it? Ability activate, Biju bomb, Deidara yelled while gritting his teeth, causing Masquerade to blink as an orb starts to be made at Shukaku's mouth as the sand is meeting pushed back, which Masquerade stares at the ball. I don't like this, Masquerade thought as Shukaku fires straight at them, which they dodge easily, but as it passes them it glows white, causing them to turn towards it as it's glowing brightly. Ability activate, third impact, Masquerade said as the ball soon disappears, causing Deidara's eyes to widen as Hydronoid sticks his head in the air and begins creating a Biju bomb. You see, third impact instantly is absorbed into Hydranoid, who proceeds to release it back at you. It's like the teleport ability, but Masquerade said as 5 more bombs are created, causing Deidara to step back, seeing 5 Biju bombs. He can copy the technique and multiply it, but not at the same level, Masquerade said as the 5 heads fire all 5 down at Deidara, who has wide eyes as they're consumed by the large explosion, causing sand to be sent everywhere as a bright light along with sand waves are being made from the explosion, while it begins fading away, showing Deidara on the ground wearing his tattered clothes as Shukaku is on the ground. Ability. Activate. Final. Bomb, Deidara says as Shukaku glows brightly as both their eyes widen. He's planning on taking us all out. Then, as a show of respect, legs show him our strongest attack, Masquerade said as both begin releasing darkness. Ability activate. Fourth impact, Masquerade yelled as Hydranoid opens his mouth to create a orb as it drops towards Deidara and Shukaku, which he begins flying away fast as a white beam appears, and it soon grows bigger, but a black sphere appears inside it as it glows brightly lighter. Then the beam as it soon explodes, then implodes, then out once more, causing the ground to be caught in the explosion as it's covering the ground, while Masquerade sighs as he sits down on Hydranoid and turns towards the explosion, which looks like a rose. Better get to Naruto. Luckily they haven't arrived yet, Masquerade said, and without a word Hydranoid speeds up. Where Madara is. Madara is currently sitting on his throne chair as they turns to the statue behind him to see one eye open. Ah, so Deidara lost, huh? Madara said as he just smirks. That's it. Keep defeating them, you idiots, Madara says with a smile. So? I'm facing you too, was all Obito said as he's standing at the Valley of Clouds and Lightning. It's where Killer Bee and Sasuke fought each other. In front of Obito is Shun and Mihawk, who have narrowed eyes. Hello, old friend, Mihawk said to Obito, which Shun blinks in surprise as he then recognizes Obito as Mihawk's rival in swordsmanship. Shall we begin? Either way you're ninja. Samurai, has dragons won't defeat me, Obito said as behind him the water starts rising, which Shun's eyes widen as Mihawk's eyes narrowed as they're looking up at the giant 8-tailed octopus ox, which it's staring down at them. Juki, Obito said, which it roars, causing both Mihawk and Shun's eyes to narrow as they both take out their Bakugans. Bakugan brawl, Shun and Mihawk yelled as they threw their Bakugan, which Obito's eyes narrowed as he finds 5 Bakugans in front of him, Zoro, Talion, Takion, Prime, and Dragluin, which the 3 dragons roar loudly as well as Talion and Zoro get ready. Now, Obito said as Juki roared loudly, which he begins changing, causing their eyes to widen at Juki, looking like a brown version of Kakashi's perfect, which Juki cracks his neck. Do as you please, Obito said as its eyes glow. Abilities activate, Excel Dark Cannon and Demon X/. Mihawk ordered as Takion creates multiples ball and they fire beams straight at Juki, while a huge X-wave is sent at him and an explosion happens. Abilities activate, Photon Destruction, Particle Beam, and Lightning Arrow. Shun yelled loudly as Prime releases Shining, which head for the smoke cloud as the particle beam rips through smoke coming out on the other side, as Talion fires a lightning arrow high as it enters the smoke but doesn't come out the back. Juki, Obito said as the smoke is blown away, showing it dodged the particle beam while having the arrow in its mouth, which it disappears as Juki soon roared loudly as its mouth glows, unleashing large amounts of lightning, hitting all of them as they're sent back, while the particles in the air glow as swords of light fall down as it surrounds Juki as a light field surrounds it, which it grabs its sword as it begins unsheathing it. Ability activate, Ultimate Takion Spiral. Mihawk yelled as Takion focuses the power as he unleashes a large black beam going through the field, which Juki immediately ducks as in one move it slices the barrier in a 360-degree circle, while the mountaintops fly high as Mihawk's eyes widen, all the way as Juki destroyed barrier with no problem whatsoever, which Mihawk closes his eyes as he opens them again. Shun, Mihawk said, gaining his brother's attention as Shun was punched in the stomach, causing his eyes to widen all the way. Stay out of this, little brother. Mihawk said as Hub falls forwards, losing conciseness as Mihawk catches his little brother and lays him down, while Tylian and Dragluin returns to Shun as Mihawk jumps high into Zoro's shoulder, while Zoro takes Sour his third blade and puts it in his mouth as he changed full speed, which Juki charges to as it jumps high and comes down SWNGNG its sword as Zoro brings his two swords up blocking it, which causes a gust of wind as both struggle for DMNCE, but it ended as Juki swings his left arm, which Zoro moves his head back. Fast, Zoro said to Mihawk, who nods as they land, which Zoro begins running backwards as Juki began to swing his sword, which Zoro throws a spin kick, which was countered by a spin kick that soon went towards the ground, causing an explosion as Zoro does a backflip, which Juki jumps forwards and slams his foot in the ground, which had happened a couple more times until Zoro bright his sword up, which blocks the kicks as Juki does a backflip and charges along with Zoro as Juki swings down. Zoro swings sideways, which the three blades connect, causing the earth to shake along with rocks flying high. Juki jumps in the air with a spin kick as Zoro blocks it with his arms and pushes off. Soon Takian joins in S. It begins firing black beams as both move their sword forward, causing a loud clang sound as the earth starts cracking, while Juki is being hit by the black beams from Takian. Juki brings his left leg up as he sends a barrage if kicks at Zoro, who blocks with his arms, which Juki goes on his left hand as he's upside down and kicks high up, which Zoro uses his arms again with trouble as he falls to his knees, and Juki does a back flip dodging Takian's attack as he lands in front of them and jumps back as it throws its sword in the air. It creates multiple shurikens and throws of at them. Whisk, he catches the sword, which the shurikens go flying towards them as they fudge, while the places it hit caused a swirl, pulling everything in it, which Juki breathes out mutiny firebox, causing multiple explosions as Zoro is sliding back. As multiple blades come from Juki as he gets in a stance, which their eyes widen as it's in the same stance as Killer Bee, which it soon charges forward as it begins skinning like a rolling ball of death, which Zoro charges as their close combat begins like Sasuke and Killer Bee when they fight. Impressive, truly impressive, Obito says, smiling, but his eyes narrow as he smiles more. It's not good enough, Obito says as 6 blades stab into Zoro, who's shocked along with Mihawk as he flies back and hits the ground, which Juki jumps high as he aims his sword down and begins falling, which Zoro's eyes widen, but thankfully Takian crashes into Juki, sending him flying back as the three begin a high-speed showdown as Juki flies up high and roars as red bubbles begin to appear on its body as it resembles its ox form as it lands on the ground, which its right tails are moving around. Ability activate. Hawk eyes. Mihawk talked as Zoro's eyes widen, seeing an image is Juki in front of him with its right hand brought back holding the sword, which Zoro dodges, but Mihawk's eyes widen seeing Juki heading for Shun. SHT, Mihawk thought as Tylian soon gets bigger again by his own will as he grabs Shun and Dragluin, which he jumps away at a faster speed than Juki, who hits the ground causing a large explosion with rocks flying everywhere. As Juki reappears running straight at Zoro, which his eyes widen as a particle beam blasts through its chest from behind, which it turns seeing Dragluin now large while Shun is still unconscious, which Juki hits the ground strong as it skids past Zoro, who sighs as he turns to be only stabbed in through the chest by Juki, who charged at him at the point where Zoro lost sight of him. Juki punches Zoro in the face, sending him flying on his sword as he hits the ground while Mihawk is in the air, just as he saw Mihawk hit the ground as he rolls and stops with his body wounded badly from the impact as he stands up in pain. "Brother," Shun yelled as he stood up slowly and runs to him as he stops at Mihawk's side. "It's time to end this pitiful fight already," Obito said as he jumps on Juki fast as he's on his shoulder. "Brother, I got this, so you should." Shun was stops as Mihawk places a hand on his shoulder, causing him to turn towards Mihawk confused, but his eyes widen seeing a calm and gentle smile as well in his eyes. "Shun, don't interfere," Mihawk said, confusing Shun, whose eyes widen completely seeing drops of BLD as his left arm is broken completely with its bone sticking out as his leg is twisted the wrong way as Mihawk's head is bleeding badly along with internal injuries and ruptured organs, which he vomits out BLD but still smiles. "Being hit like that brings back old memories, but never mind that. Trust in me, Shun," Mihawk says to Shun, who's wide-eyed. "But, brother, you can't go on with your body in that kind of a condition or..." Shun was stopped again as Mihawk ruffles Shun's hair. Shun, remember this. We all have to say goodbye someday. Sometimes, all of a sudden. The same goes for you, Naruto, and Dan. So, you better get used to that. Mihawk said to Shun, whose eyes widen as Obito is completely shocked along with Juki hearing his words, which Zoro picks him up as he takes out the sword from his body as Zoro is hurt badly. This is my last fight. Zoro, you ready to do what we must? Mihawk said, which Zoro chuckles. To protect the future. I swore my loyalty to you until the end through I never thought it would come now. Zoro said as he begins releasing aura. This is the moment of truth. Obito, Mihawk yelled at Obito, who takes a step back seeing the dark green stria Zoro and him are releasing. Zoro's strength has been taken away from receiving so much pain and damage on his body, along with your on the brick of death from losing so much BLD. Give up, Obito yelled as Mihawk smiles more. The future light can never fade away, Mihawk said to them, confusing them. What? Obito said, not liking what's gonna happen. Final ability activate, triple slash of the three gods, Mihawk yelled as an image of Zweis, Indra, and Odin appear as the aura increases tenfold. A final ability will cost the user and Bakugan to give up the lives to use through, they will still have time after using it, but now there's no hope for them now, Drago says to them. Now go, end this fight, Mihawk yelled as Zoro charges straight ahead. Ability activate, 8-tailed slash of chaos, Obito yelled as Juki brings his sword up and slashes down on the three blades, creating a bright light blinding everyone as only Obito and Mihawk can see while Zoro's sword are cracking while Juki is skidding back. It's been so long, Obito, since we last met. Through I never thought I would die by your hand, Mihawk said smiling. I don't care, after I kill you I'll be the #1 swordsman, Obito said, which he gains a laugh confusing him. I'm not the strongest, in fact I never was to begin with, Mihawk said, causing him to blink in surprise as the attacks increase, causing it to be brighter. My little brother is all I have left, and I'm glad I got to do this for him, but I'm not done saying my final goodbye to him yet. You know, Obito, we were once rivals until you fell. You made me this string, but it's time to let the next generation to past us. Shun, Naruto, Dan, Alice, Marucho, Julie, and Rano. Their time has come already since we're overdue. It's time for them to let the next generation pass them, so I won't be the one to end this duel, but I will show you THW strongest swordsman Bakugan and swordsman alive. I wonder, Obito, if we meet each other in the next world, let's have a good spar, Mihawk says to him as Shun runs through the light seeing what's happening. Brother, stop already. Just stop. I don't want to lose you, Shun yelled loudly as Mihawk smiles more. Sorry, Shun. Zoro, thank you for everything, Mihawk said as tears come down Zoro's face as his sword shatter as he's slashed across the chest, causing a large explosion, sending everyone back as Zoro smiles. See you soon, Mihawk, Zoro said as he turns, two glowing particles disappearing as the last thing he left was a crack on Juki's sword. Mihawk hits the ground while Shun gets up as he runs to him as he stops in front of him, which Mihawk gets up slowly. There's still time, Mihawk said as he vomits out BLD while dragging his sword, which is still intact, with his left hand, while his right is extended toward Shun. Shun, I've asked you to forgive me as I always pushed you away. I didn't want you to become like me. But now I think of it this way, if I had stayed, I could have changed a lot of things, including you. If I faced you honestly from the very beginning, if we told each other the truth as equals. As Mihawk said it, he stops in front of Shun as his right hand stretches out towards his head. I failed. I won't put myself above you, she tell you this and that. It's too late now for that to happen, Mihawk said as he stops at his forehead. But this time for once I'll tell you what I really think about my beloved little brother, Mihawk said as he takes a step forward while his hand goes around Shun's head, causing his eyes to widen as his hand rests on the back of Shun's head. It's all right if you never forgive me, but, Mihawk said as he pushes Shun's head forwards as they're touching. No matter what happens, I will always love you. That has never changed from when you were born until now, Mihawk said, smiling at Shun as his eyes widen completely, which he falls past Shun. This is the last time. I truly Images of a younger Mihawk and a kid Shun appear in his mind, and more images rush through his head until now. Thank you, Shun. Being born as your brother made me happy was the last thought that came from Mihawk as he hits the ground dead, as Shun is frozen as he closes his eyes, which he picks up the sword as it's still on the ground. Running by Adam Lambert. As Obito stares at him from one Juki's shoulder, and his eyes widen seeing Drago, Tachyon, and Prime glowing brightly as the three flew up high in the air, turning back into ball form as they begin circling each other, causing a blinding golden light to be made as the earth itself is shaking, which the earth, a golden dragon with dark blue eyes, rises from the ground circling around the light as Obito is shocked to the core. Impossible. The dragon of creation said to be God Naganoid's equal. Obito says as the light sends down as the dragon enters the light, which there's a single Bakugan which flies down to Shun, who takes it with his left hand as it opens up. I am Numeran Dragon, and I've seen your resolve. With your permission may I evolve with Talion? Numeran asks as Shun's eyes widen as he looks at Talion, who nods. Do it, I don't mind, Talion said as years start coming down Shun's eyes as he grips the Bakugan. Let's go, Talion, Numeran Dragon. Shun yelled loudly, which they nod. Now come forth, Shun yelled as he throws Numeran Dragon, causing a bright glow blinding Obito. The dragon that was once called the strongest dragon in existence, said to be able to fight God Naganoids on equal grounds. Now rise, lends me your strength, the dragon of dragons, Shun yelled as the ground glows as well as a large golden dragon rises from the ground. Behold, Numeran Dragon, Shun yelled as Numeran Dragon roars next to Talion. Impossible, a child able to wield the dragon of creation. It's not even possible, Obito says as he grits his teeth. Now attack, ability activate, 8-tailed beast firestorm, Obito yelled as it unleashes a large fireball at the three. Do it now, Numeran Dragon, evolve with Talion, Shun yelled as Numeran Dragon's eyes glow as or wraps around Talion, glowing brightly as Obito and Juki block their eyes as the orb there inside starts cracking. What the hell is the light? Obito yelled as the orb was slashed in half, causing his eyes to widen in complete shock seeing it. The new Bakugan looks like Sasuke's Susanoo when he absorbed the tailed beasts. The armor is golden while inside is dark green humanoid body with glowing dark blue eyes as he has a golden katana. Behold Numeran Talion, Shun yelled as his eyes glow. Ability activate, Arrow of Zways, Shun yelled as gold lightning and arrow appear in Talion's hands. Ability activate, Final Tailed Bomb, Obito yelled as Juki creates a large tailed beast bomb as he fires it, which Talion immediately lets go of the lightning wire as he lets the arrow fly straight towards the bomb, which it rips right through it as it explodes, and the arrow hits Juki as they're consumed by golden eject fixity, causing them to yell in pain as Talion charges straight for him. Talion said as he swings his katana, which Juki does the same, but in that one move Juki's sword shatters, causing their eyes to widen as he's slashed across the chest and he jumps back. Ability activate, Rasen Shuriken, Shun yelled as Talion create a dark green orb with 4 sharp golden blades and jumps high as he throws it at Juki, who leaves towards the left dodging it, but there was a dark green staring attached to the orb as it was pulled, which it's thrown back at Juki. Dodge, Obito yelled loudly, which Juki turns to it fast as he immediately junks over it as it glides under him as he does a spin, which his back was turned away from the shuriken as Talion landed as he grabs the shuriken as he charges at Juki, who glances back to see Talion behind him, which his eyes widen all the way along with Obito's as Talion rams the shuriken forwards as it slams into Juki's side, sending him flying back as it explodes into a golden lightning whirlwind as Juki is screaming in pain as well as Obito. So strong, Obito thought as they were obliterated, which Talion lands on the ground as he turns back into ball form as Shun catches him as he gives one last look at Mihawk's body and determination flashes in his eyes as they soon disappear by Talion's new power. Where Naruto is? This is it, Naruto said as he, Dan, Spectra, and Barodius are at the doorway, which they heard footsteps and their eyes widen as they turn with wide eyes seeing Masquerade. Hello Dan, Masquerade said as Dan's completely shocked, which there was a bright light as Shun arrives with narrowed eyes as Naruto's eyes widen in complete shock seeing that Mihawk is with him, and to confirm it, he saw the sword, which Shun shakes his head to Naruto, who grits his teeth. Now? Let's go, Naruto said, showing anger in his eye as they walk forwards towards the door to Madara. Naruto pushed the doors open as they heard a loud creak sound as the double doors open slowly as they first see is Madara sitting on his throne chair while behind it is the statue. So you guys finally arrived, Madara said to them as he begins throwing his Bakugan in the air and it falls in his hand. Shall we begin now? Madara asks them as Naruto's eyes narrowed as he stepped forward and cracks his neck. I'll do this alone, guys, Naruto said, causing their eye to widen in shock hearing that. Alone? What do you mean alone? Shun yelled at Naruto angry, which he turns to him. You don't get it. I need you guys to conserve your energy for the real battle, Naruto told them as he walks forward in front of everyone while Krakix and Naga look at Naruto confused as he grabs the two and throws them to Dan, who catches them just as the entire place becomes bigger by kilometers as the two begin moving away from the others as they're far away, while outside the sphere becomes larger as the people stare at with wide eyes. Inside it, Madara tigres his Bakugan just as it transforms into a giant fox, which roars loudly while Naruto claps his hands together and ground starts shaking. Wood Dragon, Naruto spoke as large roots rises and under his feet as he rises wood a dragon root heads for the two as it opens its mouth and wraps around his head. Ability activate. Tailed Beast Bomb, Madara yelled as a back orb appears in Kurama's mouth as Iron End fires it in the Wood Dragon's mouth, which it was destroyed as it heads for Naruto, who claps his hands together just as a wood hand caught the orb. Wood Golem, Naruto yelled as a largest golem rises and rams the call forward, but it was blocked by Madara using his Susanoo, causing a crater to form as the three were consumed by a large explosion, which the others pull their arms up to block the impact or the explosion as wood clue everywhere. The smoke clear, showing an armored Susanoo Kurama with Madara on his head. You're just as strong as Hashirama. You're using his techniques, Madara spoke as Naruto was inside a triple root shield surrounded by roots, which it opens up showing an uninjured Naruto. An armored beast, huh? Naruto thought to himself as Kurama has a sword appear in its right arm and swings down, but two hands catch Iron End, stopping it from hitting Naruto. It's gonna take a lot more to defeat me. Laughing Buddha, Naruto yelled as gigantic wooden hands erupt from the ground heading towards the two, which Kurama slices all of them in half, which Naruto jump away as his eyes narrowed as he goes behind it, so they're no longer facing his friends. Kurama soon creates another bomb and places his sword in it, confusing Naruto, until the beast throws it straight at Naruto, causing his eyes to widen completely, which he then acts fast as he bites his finger while landing on the ground and slams his hand in the ground with symbols appearing. 5-layer Rashomon, Naruto yelled as 5 large shields rise from the ground as it knocks all of them down while it flies by and heads far away, which it soon explodes. Naruto. It's been a while since I've fought your ancestor. You can see that I have changed, Madara says as Naruto claps his hands together, which he smirks, confusing Madara, which all he showed was a blink of surprise as markings appear on Naruto's face while Kurama roars loudly. Sage Art, Naruto says as multiple markings appear on his face as his eyes become spiked with a rectangle through them as the markings reach his back. Triple Wood Technique. 3 great sages, Naruto yelled, causing his eyes to widen as a giant wood frog, snake, and a 1,000-armed giant, which Naruto jumps on the 1,000-armed sage just as multiple Madaras appears around Madara as they jump off and create multiple perfect Susanoos. Now, I better really get serious, Naruto said as his muscles begin to get large as his hair becomes more wild. As this was happening, Madara's eyes widen all the way. This isn't right. I've never seen Madara do this before, but he's absorbing so nature energy Madara thought as his eyes narrowed, seeing and his energy connecting to the city outside, absorbing the nature energy no further than that. Naruto claps his hands together as his eyes narrowed. Charge, Naruto yelled as the snake moves at incredible stops towards them while the frog jumps high and the 1,000-armed Buddha charges. The Susanoo and Kurama fire multiple projectile attacks at the sage, who grows wings as it's dodging the attacks and slam down on one Susanoo, causing it to hit the ground, while the snake wraps around 2 Susanoo and grows twice its size as it absorbed the energy from the Susanoos, which it charges at the Kurama, which the beast unleashes a Biju bomb point-blank range, causing a massive explosion. and flames too appear, but the flames then head straight for Madara, whose eyes widen as he's hit by a strong gust of wind, as the flames head for the two, which Kurama roars, stopping the flames, but a sword was inside it as the beast moves its head fast, dodging it as the frog is heading straight for him, which Madara unleashes a large eruption of flames consuming the toad, which above it a large shadow envelops them, as he looks up seeing the Buddha jumping high straight for them. Die, Madara yelled with all his might as the Buddha statue unleashes a 1,000-fist barrage, while Kurama unleashes a barrage of its sword-spinning biju bombs. The explosion consumed the two and clears fast, showing the statue is still in one piece as it separates from its arms, only having two left as it walks towards Madara, while the Susanoo armor is falling apart. Soon enough the giant wooden statue grabs Kurama, who roars, but Madara jolts in realization as what he saw caused him to look around since Naruto was nowhere to be seen. R was what Madara heard as he turns fast, seeing Naruto right behind him with his right fist pulled back, causing Madara's eyes to widen all the way. But how? Madara's thoughts were stopped as he remembered the sword being thrown at him, causing his eyes to widen all the way as he lost track what was happening, which before he could react Naruto's fist slams straight in his face. Madara! Naruto screams as he pushes forward with all his strength. Arg! Madara yelled as he crashes into the glaring, causing a large crater, but his eyes widened to find Naruto heading straight down for him as he extended his right foot, while Madara created a small Susanoo as it used its hands to block as Naruto's eyes narrow. Meteor kick, Naruto yells as his foot slams into the Susanoo at full speed and strength as his arms begin cracking, causing his eyes to widen at this as it's cracking more. Now just stay down, Naruto screamed as the Susanoo arms break as he heads straight for the ribcage, breaking through it as his foot rams into Madara's stomach, causing him to vomit out BLD, while his ribcage in his body shatters as the Susanoo disappears along with the other Susanoos and clones as the Buddha statue slams Kurama into the ground as it throws it to the side. Now, you've lost, Naruto yelled as he grabs Madara, who has a line of BLD coming from his mouth. One by one you've all been defeated, so just give up, Naruto yelled at Madara, who just gives a laugh as a chain hits Kurama. Naruto looks, seeing the Nine Eyes statue dragon Kurama in, while Madara extends his left arm towards it as he unleashes a green-like power, sending Naruto back as the green energy enters its mouth, causing the statue to scream. With the forbidden power as well as all 9 beasts. Now, the real fight begins, Madara said as he starts running for the statue while Naruto runs after him. Madara turns to Naruto, unleashing another large flames at him, which roots under Naruto. Rise as he goes over it and jumps off straight at Madara, which he tackled him as the two hit the ground and roll as they stood up, skidding as the two run for each other's as they begin having close combat fights. Madara's Susanoo appears in its smaller version as it swings this fist at Naruto, who makes a hand sign. Afternoon Tiger, Naruto yelled as he unleashes a white tiger as it bites his Susanoo, sending both away as it explodes in a white explosion, but Madara runs out of the explosion with his Susanoo towards 10 Tails, which Naruto used his roots to chase after Madara, while the whole time the statue was changing its form. Madara turns to Naruto as he waves hand size as a black lightning Chidori appears in his hand as he charges at Naruto, who creates a rainbow rasengan, which both ram it forward as the attacks collide, causing a massive explosion, sending both flying back as Naruto grits his teeth, but his eyes widen all the way in shock. Now, shall we take this to the next level? Madara asked as both are staring at a massive beast, which it's staring at them as it rises, while Naruto could see its massive power causing him to grit his teeth, while Madara arrived at his designation as he places his hand on the beast's head. Now attack 10 Tails, Madara ordered as the beast roars loudly as it charged straight at him. But as arrow passes Naruto as it hits 10 Tails' chest, causing it to roar in pain as it stumbled back with an arrow in it, just as Talion landed beside Naruto along with Naga, Hydranoid, Drago, Helios, Derek, and Krakix. Krakix gets the others and fast, Naruto yelled as he nods and begins running, while turning back to the 12 heroes standing before 10 Tails and Madara. Naruto's eyes narrowed as Madara's eyes narrowed as well, while the arrow disappears as 10 Tails roared at them, which Naruto, Dan, Masquerade, Spectra, Barodius, and Shun jump back as Naruto's markings fade away, while in front of them was Naganoid, Numeran Talion, Fusion Dragonoid, Phantom Derek, Infinity Helios, and Chaos Hydranoid. 10 tails roared at them, causing Naruto, Dan, Masquerade, Spectra, Barodius, and Shun jump back as they felt the shock wave from the roar, while Naruto's markings fade away. In front of them are Naganoid, Numeran Talion, Fusion Dragonoid, Phantom Dirac, Infinity Helios, and Chaos Hydranoid. "Let's do this, guys," Naruto yelled loudly as everyone nods. Yeah, they yelled as Shun was the first to attack. Ability activate, Rasen Shurikens. Shun yelled as Talion creates multiple shurikens in his hands and throws them straight at 10 tails, which roars as it's hit by them and consumed by lightning as they explode into a lightning whirlwind, which 10 tails jumps out of the whirlwind covered in wounds, but that just heal fast. Ability activate, Deep Fire Block A. Spectra yelled as Helios fires lasers from black mechanical part on his back, and it keeps fires as beams hit 10 tails, causing sphere-like explosions all over its body as it hits the ground. Naruto Shippuden asked my name. "Let's go," Naga yelled, charging with the others behind him, while a hand bursts from the smoke as 10 tails roars loudly, coming out off it angered. "Split," Naga yelled as Dirac and Drago go the right while Talion, Helios, and Hydranoid go to the left, which 10 tails looks at the two as Madara's eyes widen a little on two of his head, which 10 tails roars loudly. Ability activate, Naruto and the others yelled loudly. Quasar Beam, Naruto yelled as Naga fires a rainbow beam. Dragon Thrasher, Dan yelled as Drago unleashes a red beam. Clamor Quasar, Spectra yelled as Helios fires black beam from mouth. Evil Bind, Barodius yelled as Dirac unleashes a large cloud-like black beam from his mouth. Orion's Cannon, Shun yelled as Talion puts his hands together firing a white beam. Second Impact, Masquerade yelled as Hydranoid unleashes 5 lasers straight at 10 tails, which it looks at the attacks heading for it while Madara's eyes narrow. 10 tails, Madara spoke as it opened its mouth, creating an orange orb, surprising everyone as it disappears and soon replaces by as orange beam with a black outline, which 10 tails begins turning, obliterating their attacks, while the 6 Bakugan begins running fast trying to dodge the attack. Ability activates, Godspeed, Naruto yelled as Naga disappears just as 10 tails was uppercut, missing the others as it stops firing and looks at Naga as it slams its right hand on Naga's chest, sending him to the ground as Naga gives a laugh. Ability activate, Barrow lay a dragon spur, Dan Ann's Barodius yelled as Dragon is consumed by a glowing red aura, while Dirac is glowing purple as Beth disappear and reappear in front of 10 tails as they ram their fists into his face, causing the beast to stumble back. Ability activate, Warrior's Charge, Naruto yelled as Naga has a glowing white aura as he appears in front of 10 tails with the other two as they unleash a barrage of fists, slowly pushing 10 tails back as it swings its left arm into the 3, sending them flying back as it looks to see a black orb in its face courtesy of Hydranoid's 4th impact. But all 10 tails does was flick it away from itself towards Naruto and the others, causing their eyes to widen as Masquerade smirks. Ability activate, Hydro Marking, he yelled as symbols appear in format of them in midair, and it teleports behind the two, which Madara looks at it and 10 tails was about to hit it away, but yellow Senbos hit 10 tails body, causing it to stop moving as the attack hits the monster as it soon explodes. Which everyone stays clear of the explosion, but their eyes widen seeing that their attack was being absorbed as it's swallowing the explosion, causing it to puff up, while its tails open up showing black orbs as it fires at all 6 of them, causing their eyes to widen as the 6 didn't have enough time to do anything as they were consumed by the sphere's explosions, which the room shakes as all 6 fly back. Farba's Infinity, Spectra said as Helios begins repairing all damage done to himself and his defense increases by 120%, which Madara crosses his arms, seeing that they all have scratches on their bodies. "It'll take more than that to defeat us," Naga said loudly as Madara stares at him. "I can say the same thing, but you are all far too weak to defeat 10 tails. None of you are strong enough to defeat him, it's pointless. Sooner or later you'll know that you can do nothing in the end," Madara said to Naruto, which his eyes narrow. "Shut the hell up already. You don't know anything about us or what we can really do," Naruto yelled at Madara, who just gives a laugh. "You honestly think you can exhaust 10 tails? As he's fighting, he's drawing power from every living thing in this world. His power is limitless, so just disappear along with the rest of this world, Madara said loudly as Ten Tails fires another beam towards Naruto and the others, which all 6 Bakugan get in front of them. Ability activate. Fusion Shield, Naruto yelled as Drago, Talion, Helios, and Hydronoid place a hand on Naga's back as they give him some of their power as Naga creates a rainbow shield deflecting the beam straight up as instead of reflecting it bursts through the ceiling, gaining a lot of attention as it explodes largely while Madara's eyes widen. What just happened? Madara asked himself, confused as what Naga just did. Guys, ready? Naruto yelled as everybody nods. Ability activate, Soul. Naruto yelled loudly as Naga blows rainbow. Hydronoid, Masquerade yelled as Hydronoid glows black. Drago, Dan yelled as Drago glows red. Darak, Barodius yelled as Darak glows black. Talion, Shun yelled as he glows yellow and green. Helios, Spectra yelled as Helios glows black. Fusion, they yelled as all 6 fuse, causing Madara's eyes to widen all the way as there was a blinding light as what he saw was a golden Bakugan. He had Drago, Darak, Naga, and Hydronoid's wings, 6 arms, 4 legs and 1 head resembling Naga's, but different since there was a crown on his head, while the rest of the body resembled Naga's except for having a mechanical body with its stomach having spikes. God Naganoid, Naruto yelled loudly as Madara's eyes widen all the way hearing that. Ability activate, all 6 yelled as Madara's eyes narrowed all the way as he grits his teeth. Dimensional fists, they yelled as Naga roared loudly as he begins SWNGNG his fists, but he's not even close to 10 Tails, but every time he swings one of his fists a crack appears on midair as he roared loudly, continuing the attacks as he pulls all his fists back. Now, Madara yelled, waiting for an open as 10 Tails unleashes another beam straight at them, but trees start to grow under 10 Tails as it rises immediately, causing 10 Tails to miss as its aim was off just as Naga slams all 6 fists forward, causing thousands of cracks to appear in midair as there was a shock wave just as 10 Tails' body has cracks appear on its body as it roars in pain, which it stumbled back, but its leg falls to pieces, which Madara couldn't comprehend what just happened. Did he just? No. He made it so his body easily cracked, but how? Madara thought as Naga was already in front of them. When did he? Madara was cut off by Naga with his right fist pulled back. Fist of the gods, Naga roared as he slams one of his fists straight into 10 Tails' stomach, unleashing a yellow glow, causing it to give a scream as it flews a couple of feet in the air before it somehow receive another blow, then another as it soon started flying straight up high as it breathes through the sphere, causing it to shatter. While 10 Tails roared loudly as it's heading for the clouds, which move away as it passes them straight for the sun as it finally stops while its body falls apart with a wide eyes Madara as they all begin falling. Naga was watching this as he teleported everyone to the ground as he sighs as they were all separated, which Naga smiles to Naruto as 10 Tails crashes into the sea along with Madara. Dan, someone yelled as they turned, seeing Dan's parents running towards. Mom, Dad, Dan was cut off as he was hit on the head strong. Do you realize what has been happening? She yelled as him as everyone was shocked at the outburst, never seeing her like this as years appear in her eyes as she hugs Dan, who was shocked. You idiot, she said as Dan's father just gives a laugh seeing this as he scratches the back of his head while their Bakugan returned to normal size. 10 minutes later. One by one they see their parents and guardians, which Naruto just smiles as he sees Masquerade turn back into Alice, along with seeing Fabia and Paige along with Link, Shadow, and Hydran. Guys, Naruto said as he smiles but stops as the entire planet felt a shock wave, but a single one, causing Naruto to turn slowly as the sky turns BLD red, gaining everyone's attention as Naruto looks at the ocean. It's not over yet, Naruto yelled, gaining everyone's attention as an eruption of black happened, gaining everyone's attention. No, I will not be defeated. I'll turn this world to a pit of darkness where there's no return. I'll consume all of you. A voice roared from the beam as a new figure appears as everyone's eyes widen in complete shock, seeing as taller than the clouds themselves as he's humongous, dwarfing 10 Tails size completely. Looks just like Super Granzaboma from Tenjin Toppa Gurren Lagann. To be beaten by a bunch of humans, I will not stand for this, the giant roared as Naruto grits his teeth. Madara, but how? How are you still alive? Naruto yelled as he looks down at them. By fusing with 10 tails myself, he's unable to wield his power to the full extent, so I'm taking full control. Madara roared loudly, causing an earthquake as Madara extends his left hand towards them, but multiple explosions happen on Madara's arm, stopping him as Naga did it while back in his large form, shocking Naruto. What the hell? But how did you? Naruto stopped as he heard a laugh, which Naga looks at Naruto with a smile as he snaps his fingers, which the other Bakugan appear in their forms. Thank you, Naruto, Naga said, causing his eyes to widen at the tone in his voice. Who are you? Naruto asked as Naga smiles as Naruto and goes to one knee as he's looking down at him. I'm God Naganoid. Code Eva did exactly as I told her. You see, I was reincarnated, but I strayed from my path, and I thank you for putting me back on it. But, regaining my memories, I know his to stop you once and for all, Naga said as he turns to Madara. It's time to end this, Naga said with narrowed eyes as he stood up. You ready, Naruto? Naga asked, which Naruto is still shocked at what he heard. Yet but how? Naruto was cut off by Naga. I'll answer all your questions after this, so let's end this, Naga said as he looks, seeing the other Bakugans give him a nod while Naruto's right hand glows and he looks at it, which his eyes widen, seeing a golden card. Serera Days Ost full version. Naruto closed his eyes as the card glows brightly as he sticks it in the air. Final ability activate. Final fusion. Naruto yelled loudly as Naga roared loudly as he glows rainbow, causing all the Bakugan to glow yellow as they fly to Naga, entering him one by one, but it stops as there isn't any more Bakugan in their location. Rag, Naga roared as Madara just gives a laugh. Do you actually think that will be enough to stop me? Madara asked as Naga just gives a laugh. Who said I was finished? Gate open. Naga roared the last part as portals appear in midair, showing new Vestries, Gundalia, Nethia, Vixos, and every city around the world. It can't be, Madara said with wide eyes. My brothers and sisters, I beg you, so please lend my ear stringlet. Naga roared loudly as brand of light. Thousands of them come through the portals and entering Naga, causing him to grow even lather to the size of Naga. Naga's entire body looks the same except for its golden, along with the same size as Madara. God of creation, Arceus, Naga roared loudly as Madara grits his teeth in anger as he extends his right hand. Die, Madara roared as he unleashes a black beam straight as Arceus, but a rainbow shield appears in front of him, blocking the attack as it was simply absorbed by the shield, which Arceus charges straight at Madara as a golden staff appears in his right hand. Sword of Arceus, Arceus yelled loudly as he pulls it up high. Dark Oblivion, Madara roared, unleashing a black beam point-blank range, causing Naruto's eyes to widen. Naga, Naruto yelled as the beam disappears, showing Naga wasn't there, causing Madara's eyes to widen as he turns, seeing Arceus holding his staff as the edge is rainbow. Colors Odd God, Arceus roared as he moved forward as the edge enters Madara, causing his eyes to widen, but he just laughs until a light comes out of him, which immediately he looks down. Be destroyed by the colors of the elements, Arceus spoke, causing his eyes to widen as more light come out of him. Sorry, but this is the end for you. Magna Carta. Arceus roared as Madara screamed as he was consumed by a blinding light, causing everyone to look away, and soon enough it ended, which everyone looks to see Arceus standing in front of a statue that fades away into nothingness as Arceus glows bright, blinding everyone, which it soon ends. Seeing Naga in midair unhurt while Drago and the others are back when they were before they left, but in ball form along with the Bakugan returned home where they were along with the portals closed. Is it over? Naruto asked as Naga looks at Naruto as he turns to him fully and flies down to him, which Naruto smiles. You did it, Naga. We should get some rest now, Naruto said with a smile, but stops seeing Naga look away. Naruto, I'm not coming home with you, Naga told Naruto, causing his eyes to widen as he's unable to speak. Naruto Ninja Storm 3 full burst Ost attaches goodbye. What are you talking about? Naruto asked, which his eyes widen all the way as everyone watching becomes shocked along with its being broadcasted all over the world. Naga's body is disappearing slowly by sparkles. Naruto. Naga uses everything he had just to fuse everyone with himself. After he separated, there was nothing left. Drago told Naruto, who freezes completely as he has wide eyes while tears appear at his eyelids. See, can't I? Naruto was stopped by Naga, who shakes his head. I'm sorry, but you can't use your power and there's no more time left. Naruto, you made every day of my life livable. Being reincarnated as an evil Bakugan was strong, but you changed me, you fought strong and brought me back. Naga said as tears are falling from his eyes as well while Naruto is crying. But if you die, Naruto said, crying as he felt a tap at the back of his head and turns, seeing Krakix as there's tears in his eyes too while in Bakugan form. Naruto. There are times when you lose someone even all of a sudden, but don't let it change who you are, Krakix said as he looks back to Naga, who gives a smile as he points to himself with his right thumb while his body is almost gone. Don't worry, one of these days I'll be reincarnated again and I'll keep my memories this time and find you, and that's a promise of a lifetime. After all, we're partners, so for one last request, give me a nice smile that you always have, Naga said as Naruto wipes his tears as he shows him his biggest and brightest smoke, which Naga smiles sadly as he's crying while images of all their once spent together as enemies then comrades. Thank you. For everything, Naruto, you made my life worth living, Naga said as his body disappears completely, while Naruto falls to his knees crying, which he stops seeing a hand and looks up, seeing Dan with tears coming down his eyes with his right hand extended as Naruto crud more and takes his hand as he stood back up and is hugged by Alice. Don't you dare, go back on your word, Naruto said, crying with a smile. 20 years later in Bakugan Academy. In class, sitting in the back by the window, was a kid looking just like Naruto, except with orange spiky hair, but in the back of his head was long orange hair. Menma, are you listening? The teacher said loudly, which Menma sighs. Yes, Mr. Marucho, Menma said as he still looks out the window, uninterested in Bakugan whatsoever, causing Marucho to sigh at him. Marucho is currently the same size as he was 20 years ago, except for having a mustache on his face along with prayas on his right shoulder. Menma, you're failing, and if you don't shape up, Marucho stops as he sweat drops, seeing he's being ignored, while a girl looking like Fabia with blonde hair and a girl looking like Paige with spiky pink hair and ocean blue eyes sigh at their brother. Lunchtime putside. Menma is currently sitting by himself as he's currently ignoring everything around him. He's currently sitting on stairs as he's not listening to the kids playing tennis or anything else as he's eating a sandwich. Oh, don't do it, a kid yelled, which Menma looked up, seeing a Bakugan thrown out a window, causing his eyes to widen as he instantly caught it and stares at it. Huh? Was all Menma said before he heard footsteps and glances back, seeing two 8th graders standing between one of Menma's classmates. There he is. Our Bakugan seemed to have slipped out the window, one said. And he's special to us, so how about you give him back? The other guy said. And no, he's... The kid was stopped by the two glaring at him, which Menma just stares at, seeing this, and sighs as he stood up. Bullies, huh? Was all Menma said as he stood up and looked at them, which their eyes widen, recognizing him. Menma, one kid dazed as Menms walks towards them, which both put their hands up, not wanting to get beaten, but he just passes them and stops in front of the kid. This Bakugan likes you, I can tell, so don't let it out of your sight again, Menma told him as he gives it back and looks at the bullies. Next time, I will hurt you too, Menma threatened, causing them to back off as he just starts walking away while people are watching him through a window. So the rumors are true. He's the son of Naruto Uzumaki, the principal, and his godfather is Shun Kazami, the gym teacher. He's scary, one kid said as the others nod, while Menma continues walking until there was a bright light blinding him as he's confused at what's happening and looks to see a Bakugan in front of him, confusing Menma, who looks around seeing no one just as it opens up. Hello there, Menma, the Bakugan said, causing Menma's eyes to widen at him, knowing his name, which he instantly picks up the Bakugan. Who are you, and how do you know me? Menma asked the Bakugan, who just laughs a little. Sadly, I lost all the power and the old form, but not the memories. I'm Naga. Nice to meet you, Menma, Naga said as Menma is shocked. Who are you? Menma yelled, gaining a laugh from Naga. Before that, is it okay with you that I can see your father? He's an old friend of mine, Naga said as Menma blinks in surprise at this. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for more stories and crossovers. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Shadow Knight Destroyer on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.